Tonight on Behind the Details with Chelsea, we're going to sit down with my good friend Aaron Butler from Phoenix EOD. Tonight we're going to discuss why he started Phoenix EOD, some of the intentionality behind the branding and the products that he's created. We're also going to discuss some of the unique collaborations that he's done within the industry, but we're also going to discuss one of the most powerful things that his company does, and that is the Pay It Forward campaign.
How it works is as follows. Between Thanksgiving and Christmas, you can nominate somebody. You go to the website, phoenixeod.com, and go to the Pay It Forward page, and you can nominate somebody that, needs a little something, and we will pay it forward. We have so much stuff that we really need nominations now. We need people to give this stuff to. Come with me on this journey to just kind of keep pushing things forward. Phoenix couldn't exist without my community, without the generosity of people helping me out along the way, and we're just a catalyst for the community to come together to continue to pay it forward. The 26th, the day after Christmas, is when we will make announcements to everybody. Good luck, nominate somebody, and let's pay it forward.
Aaron is one of the most genuine and kind-hearted people that I have met within the industry, and so I'm excited to get to spend some time with him tonight, getting to know him and his company better. So go ahead, grab a snack, and let's go ahead and get started with the show. Looks like we've got a little bit of a surprise for you guys, because it's not just Aaron.
Jamie!
We've got Jamie. He's only here for a few minutes.
Hey, are we still allowed to call you Jamie the Cleaner, or has that title been retired?
No, I'm still on there, man. I make videos all the time.
I know.
Look, I posted a Fenrir video today. Did you see it? It's an update.
I did indeed. Wow.
Look, I think not to toot our own horn, I think we made a pretty slapper tire dressing.
I think we did too.
I think we did.
I owe you.
She's got a bottle.
I owe you for this. I mean, you were tremendous.
You don't owe me nothing. Look, listen here. You can tell the people about that in a second. I got an announcement to make.
Okay.
And that's the Stay Strong detailer. We finally got it all. You got to wait on, if returns happen, damages, get all the bottles out, that kind of deal. You got to let all that happen before you can announce stuff like this so we know the real total. So I wanted to get it to you on the dot. The total profit for the Stay Strong detailer that we can finally, if you don't know, let's go ahead and share it, Chelsea. Present, share screen. This is for the Save Lydia GoFundMe campaign. Look at about almost halfway to the goal. So you people helped add this to this donation.
Cow.
Yep, it's getting there. So the total profit from sales from the Stay Strong detailer was $6,294. Big round of applause to all the detail culture that supported the Stay Lydia GoFundMe campaign, and that bought Stay Strong detailer. We're going to write up that check, get it on the way. But also our investor, whose name is Eric. The internet wants to know his name so bad. Let's just go ahead and tell him, because I wanted him to get the credit, because he's matching what we raised through the House of Rags to $12,589.
Holy moly!
Awesome.
Is what we're donating to Save Lydia and her GoFundMe campaign. And if you don't know the campaign, it is for Sanfilippo syndrome, to getting those trials going for type B. I think it is.
Can you, if you don't mind me interjecting, can you
Yes, sir.
real quick, in layman's term, explain what that disease is?
It's a tough one. So it's childhood Alzheimer's, pretty much.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, it says Lydia, 1 year old, 2 now. She's full of life. She loves playing right alongside her sister, but her little body's dying before her disease takes over her body and brain. Damage starts to occur. We have one chance to change her fate, and it has to happen soon. So that's what this whole GoFundMe campaign.
This is your niece, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am. So I'll drop the link of the GoFundMe if you want to add to the cause. But that's how much we are getting to the GoFundMe campaign. So big thanks to everybody who bought Stay Strong detailer. Again, that total is going to be $12,589. And you made it happen. Plus, there was a lot of direct donations to me. I think it was like $1,600 sent directly to me. I already PayPal'd my niece that money. So thank you, everybody. That's all I got for this one. Now it's Phoenix time. He's got a lot to say about this tire dressing. So I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here, Chelsea. I thank you.
Hey, Jamie.
What?
See you on Saturday.
Saturday.
See you
Curmudgeon's
Saturday.
Corner. That's when I'll
Woo!
come in and tell you how I tested this dressing. He sent me like a whole bucket full of dressings, and I put them through the ringer. One stood out, and we even tweaked it further from there for a couple weeks. Sent it out to all the detailers. Fenrir's coming. Get ready. It's a monster. That's all I got. Bye, everybody. Appreciate you, Aaron. Appreciate you, Chelsea. Keep
Thanks,
killing it.
Jamie.
Good to see you,
See you
Jamie.
guys. All right.
That was epic.
That
So
was
many
epic.
levels. One, the fundraiser is fantastic. And I love the fact that he's able to reach so many people to do something for someone in our community. Just absolutely fantastic. And then two, that intro, Chelsea.
What?
You got me all
From
like,
the heart, Aaron.
My goodness. Listen,
Well,
I don't want to. Listen, I'm not typically one to pontificate and suck up and blow smoke. He's got like 13 podcasts on Thor Media. You're my favorite. I just want you to know that.
It's just because we get to hang out. We have a stronger friendship.
Well, it's true, but I think that I like the way that you question and interview. Like, it's not so much just like not just a couple of homies hanging out and just kind of riffing and talking about mowing the lawn for 45 minutes. You actually have like really crazy, insightful, deep questions that I'm like intrigued to hear the answers from the people that you interview. So I'm completely honored to be on your show. Thank you. And yes, the fact that we are such good friends is an absolute bonus because I don't have to worry about what is it called on Survivor? Blindsided. I don't have to worry about being blindsided.
No, never with me. And I'm always straightforward.
You are.
I'm glad you guys could join us tonight. I've been looking forward to this episode ever since we started the podcast. This has kind of been in the works because Aaron and I have been friends for years. Backstory for those of you that aren't familiar, Aaron used to work for Extreme Solutions. In fact, he was my rep with Extreme Solutions. So I got to know him that way. I started testing out some of those products, was a huge fan of them, but I was more a huge fan of you, honestly. Like, the products were good. I just really like supporting genuinely good people. So I just kept buying. And then when you started Phoenix EOD, it was a no-brainer for me to test the products out to help give you feedback. And then as you started developing them and hitting home run after home run, I couldn't have been happier for you because honestly, it couldn't happen to a better guy.
Thank you.
So I know that I'm very familiar with your story, but for those that may not be familiar, I mean, how many in the comments section, maybe give us a heart or a thumbs up. I'm not sure if I can even see those, but let us know in the comments section what exactly you guys want to know from Aaron tonight, because we're going to be answering you guys' questions. But for those that maybe are new to your story, could you share a little bit about what inspired you to shift from selling chemicals for someone else to making your own?
Yeah, we're about to celebrate our 4th birthday. And in those 4 years, I've never tried to openly speak ill of the dead. But the name, a lot of it, the Phoenix EOD, the EOD part, it speaks a lot of how this whole thing came about. And it's absolutely so much more nowadays. No offense to Thor, proud sponsor of the show. Now that they're doing their private labeling and private blending and stuff like that, there's
boy, you probably wish they had been around 5 years ago.
maybe. So I'm also very, very, very protective of my children. My product line, and so it's really, really hard for me to trust. Okay, so let me get ahead of myself. The EOD stands for Evolve or Die, and there is a certain company out in Colorado that was on Pan the Organizer's channel once upon a time, The Chemist, and he blatantly called out that, yeah, we blend for like 400 different chemical companies. And the company that I used to work for was one of those companies. And it was always kind of an issue for me where I would go into dealerships when we're trying to compete with another Delaware Valley chemical manufacturer. And I'd go in there and they would give me feedback about how much one of our products sucked. And it wasn't that it was one of our products. It was a product that was being made by somebody else. And so I would go back and be like, hey, why can't we make something better? Why can't we do something different? Why can't we talk to a different blender, a different chemist? Like why are we stuck using this stuff when the industry is changing? If you talk at any length to Brian Spittler, he'll tell you, make, model, year to year changes in the paint, in the, we're talking about water-based clear coat. Like, that's insanity. And so the industry, even on a year-to-year basis, is changing. And I always just felt that we need to be more fluid and be able to adapt and change to the end, because the car manufacturers aren't going to bend to a chemical company. The chemical company is going to have to bend to the manufacturers, right? I mean, that's who has all the money, the lobbyists, all that stuff. And so that's kind of where for lack of a better term, the resentment came, that we're kind of stuck. Use this, and here you go, and this is what we have for you, and you're going to use it and you're going to like it. And then as things kind of deteriorated on more of a personal level, and then all these little pieces started snapping into place, and just like, as an entrepreneur, you kind of get that, all of a sudden you get that, I'm going to jump out the airplane and see what happens kind of moment. If you know anything about me and my company, you know that I'm very inspired by my brother. And he did a Instagram reel where, for those of you that don't know, my brother is a bilateral amputee. His helicopter crashed in Morocco, Africa in 2012, and as a result ended up eventually losing both of his legs. During the recovery process, he's gotten these prosthetics and his bionics and stuff like that. And there is an Instagram clip of him in the gym doing he's doing squats with an incredible amount of weight. And the caption just reads, "What's your excuse for skipping leg day?" And
that'll gut you.
Right? Yeah, there's it's definitely a gut check. And so it was kind of at that moment that was like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to
go to the gym.
I'm going to do it. Right. And so then I reached out to you guys and I said, hey, if I go out on my own, would you guys help me? Would you guys support me? And I mean, there wasn't a hesitation amongst a lot of you that were like, absolutely, brother, do it. We got your back. And Chelsea, you've been with me the entire ride. As a matter of fact, there is no excuse for skipping leg day. Yeah, especially from a guy that has no legs. That Fenrir that you have in your hands, that was your doing.
What?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, we had a conversation probably.
I think we've talked about a lot of things. That one,
yeah.
I'm kind of. Is that why it has a sandalwood scent?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. 100%. 100%.
That's like, oh, it smells like cologne. I like it.
Yeah, you were like, I forget, we were talking. We were either talking at your car or talking at your dining room table. I remember, but you were just like, if you're gonna do something, can you just make it like a little bit more masculine? Like, just like not over the top with cologne, but I just want something a little. It's something
doesn't need to smell like grapes.
Yeah, something pleasantly masculine for the dashboards and stuff like that. And I was like, note to self. All right. And
it's really nice.
Thank you.
I like it.
That was 100% you. Yeah. So yeah, that was you. And
that's a nice moisturizer lotion too.
And it's got UV protection, so you're good to go. It's a sunscreen, and
I think I got some on my nose, but it's okay. It smells really good. I'm excited. I just got it today, so I haven't had a chance to play with it, but the first thing I did was sniff it.
Of course.
Which that's probably the weirdest thing that we as detailers do, but it smells really good.
Especially when it says don't sniff, and like the first thing that people do with Immortal is stick their nose in Immortal, and it cleans.
I will say this. Your font is super small that for my 40-year-old eyes, I'm like,
well, that's the 8-ounce sample bottle. That's all I had left. I mean, I only had such a small amount of samples, and of course I needed to give Jamie a buttload because I mean he was, again, the collaboration behind the label, I think we sent him 6 different tire dressings to play with, and he was like, "I like number 5 the best." And then we experimented with that, and um,
So, devil's in the details asking, what is it interior protection?
yeah, so we call it dual action tire dressing and interior dressing because if you use it straight, it works phenomenal on tires, and it works really, really good on trim. I have a Hyundai, a 2016 Hyundai, and it's got like zebra striping on all the trim around the wheels and
Okay.
bumper and stuff. And as a dressing, one straight up, it works great. It is water based, so I
I
mean,
saw that.
obviously, it's not gonna last for a million years. But it
Dry to
does
the
the
touch?
it dries immediately to the touch. You should see Shine Your Light did a whole bunch of different videos on it when he was testing it, and he was like, by the time he was done going around the circle, the first part was already dry. It
Nice.
was bananas. Now, I will say this, Jamie and I were testing it and hanging out and talking about it, and, like, my tires on the Hyundai are really, really old, and,
Mhm.
they need to be replaced. I'm down at the nub where I need to replace them, and, it took more than 1 coating to, like, really make it work really well because the older tires will absorb and drink it
Yep.
in. So if you have, a customer that has, pretty worn tires or used tires, you might need to go around it twice.
Mhm. Okay. What do you like it as far as dilution ratio for the interior?
5 to 1. 5 to
5
1
to
is
1.
great, and not only that, but so I mixed it up. I did an Instagram reel that I tried to turn into, or I did an Instagram live that I tried to turn into a reel, and it didn't work. But, at 5 to 1, it becomes extremely sprayable. So, we mixed it 5 to 1 and shook it up and then sprayed it into a microfiber towel and just wiped it all over the dash and the steering wheel and basically every hard surface in the interior of the car. It's got UV protection. It's got a little bit of it like anti-static. I wouldn't really call it an anti-static, but I mean, it definitely, you can see the difference. Um, like you said, it's got that really pleasant scent, and I just really enjoy it. And it's not wet look. It's a nice sheen. It's like a clean new sheen, and I love that. And again, like you said, it's dry to the touch. Even at 5 to 1, it dries to the touch. I could rub my fingers on the dashboard and it squeaked like, like Tupperware.
You're big on squeaks.
I'm big on squeaks.
You want your Paleus panel prep to be squeaky clean?
That's right. Exactly. My mother was always just like, it's not clean until it squeaks. And I'm like, all right, ma.
So, I know we've kind of hopped all over the place from talking about how you started Phoenix EOD and that we kind of were answering some questions about Fender. And we'll
Yeah,
totally get to all of the products because I've worked with all of them pretty extensively. For those of you that have questions, this is the podcast to ask your questions. But when it comes to Phoenix EOD, you've got like some pretty funky names: Kraken,
yeah.
Typhon,
Mhm.
Peleus, Papa Smurf, Apex, all like they were kind of all over the place, but you got like a little Greek mythology thrown in there. Can you explain to me like what was your purpose and intentionality behind the names?
Sure. So a lot of all right, so I couldn't tell you exactly where Titan came from. It was just a I don't know, called God inspired inspiration. I don't know. I don't know where Titan came from, but there was Titan. I just had the vision in my and Phoenix came from the fact that I had a horrible accident back in '94 and died. And then my brother had
And
his
died?
yeah.
We don't we you just like talk over that. You're like, I died. And now I'm not.
Okay, so
I need to know
it's a
details.
very
What happened?
technical death. All right. So basically, I had a horrible accident September 7th, 1994. And in that accident, I yeah, I ended up tearing off my right foot, broke both of my knees, ripped my hip out of its socket, broke my pelvis in 2 places, shattered all the ribs on the left side of my body, and telescoped my arm. And in
You know, I've
doing
always wondered about that scar. You
yeah,
never
it
wow.
telescoped. Those are all pins. They were pins that held my arm back in place. Spent 9 months in the hospital recovering. But the night of the accident, when my pelvis got crushed in 2 places, I ended up bleeding out. I bled out. It's called a PEA, pulseless electrical activity, meaning your heart still has an electrical beat. Like if you were to put me onto an EKG, you would see that there is an electrical pulse, but there's no volume to beat. So there's no blood being circulated. So you're dead. Your heart just doesn't know it. And so the trick or key to getting that thing is to get volume back inside the body and get that, get the blood stabilized and all that stuff, get your body stabilized. So I ended up bleeding out through my pelvis, but I landed like 10 feet away from UPMC, which is, at the time, it was the second best trauma center in the United States. So if you're gonna land anywhere, land close to a level 1.
That says center. God was somewhere in the midst of all of that.
He's been steering a lot of my nonsense. Like, all right, we're gonna let this one go, but we're gonna make sure that he survives it. So anyway, yeah. So I spent.
What was that recovery? What was that recovery like? Like, I just imagine you as like pretty much a full body cast.
Well, my right arm was good, so I still had that. Okay. I still had that going.
You could still sign bills.
Yeah,
to pay the doctor.
Still sign bills. Exactly. No, I was in traction for a lot, laying on my back, my arm in pins, and all of that stuff, and my legs, all braced up. What really prolonged the recovery is that I ended up getting a staph infection in my right leg. Well, they were able to reattach the foot to the leg. But I ended up getting a staph infection. And after like 17 surgeries, they still couldn't get the staph infection under control, because the way that the anatomy of the ankle is, there's not a whole lot of blood supply there. There's not a lot of muscle mass around the ankle. So you're really not getting a whole lot of, so all the antibiotics and stuff that they're given, they're not really getting down into the ankle. And so they were going to amputate it. And then it was at that point that my dad, fresh retired colonel out of the Marine Corps, came down and was just like, "You're not taking my son's leg. It's just not happening. So either you do something to fix his leg, or I'm taking him out of here." And they were like, "Well, after 17 surgeries, there's nothing we can do." So he took me out, AMA, out of the hospital. And he ended up taking me to some doctor of osteopathy in Youngstown, Ohio, who was practicing unorthodox medicine. And it's a crazy long story if you want to hear it, I'll tell you. But basically, he used a horse drug it's called DMSO. And don't tell me what it stands for. I'd have to use AI.
I was going to say, was it ivermectin? Because that's weird.
No. It's called DMSO. And what DMSO does is, all right, so you have the cell membrane. And normally, when a cell wants to receive nutrients or whatever it is, it has these little trap doors. And it opens the trap door. And if the whatever it is that it wants to eat is floating by at the time the trap door is open, it eats it. But if it's closed, it travels on right by. And since there's not a whole lot of blood supplied down in the ankles, you're not getting a whole lot of trapdoors doing stuff. So what DMSO does is it completely makes the cell membrane walls permeable. So it doesn't matter if the trapdoor is open or closed, stuff is going in and out of there all day, every day. And the side effect is that you leak. You just leak. You just leak everywhere. According to my grandmother, you smell like garlic buttered peas. And apparently it's not pleasant, but anyway, so I'm on DMSO, and within 2 weeks, not only is the staph infection gone, but the holes have all completely closed up.
Wow.
And when we went back to
that is some Superman type stuff.
It's bananas. We went back to the doctor, and I remember his first name was Chris. I couldn't tell you his last name. Anyway, went back to the doctor, and he was such a prick. He didn't believe that it worked. He was like, "No, this is BS." And he grabbed a brush and he scrubbed the scars, or the scabs, off of the holes in my feet. And there was pink flesh underneath, like completely healed. And he was just like, "It had to have been the antibiotics that we gave you." Okay, man, I know it's unorthodox medicine, but here you go. So that's the Phoenix. The Phoenix has risen from those ashes. My brother crashed. He shouldn't have survived that. 2 Marines died in that crash. he's back from the ashes. And so that's where Phoenix comes from.
Are
And
your parents still living?
Oh, yes, ma'am. I just saw him this weekend.
How is your mother's heart after all of that?
Oh, that's a
Does
battle.
she hug you tightly every
There's
time she says
two
goodbye to her
stories. The
babies?
first,
Because I would.
so I crashed on I crash landed. I crash landed on a Wednesday and I woke up on a Saturday. And apparently when I was laying there, they had me, I'm in traction, but except for my right arm, my right arm is on my chest. And she said, because you had lost so much blood, you were beyond ash white. And so when we walked into that room, I thought I was looking at my son's corpse. And she said, I've never been the same since. And then the second story after that is after I got taken out AMA and I'm in the back of an ambulance going back to Newcastle. My mom's in the back with me. And I'm feeling one of those moments where I should probably confess my sins. And I said, Ma, there's probably a few things that you should know. And she says, we don't need to talk about that. I don't need to know anything. We're good here. We're totally good. I was like, well, all right. What did he crash land? I didn't crash. I crash landed my body. All right. God, I didn't want to go this. I was living in Pittsburgh, and Pittsburgh is on a peninsula. So everybody knows, you have the Monongahela, the Allegheny, and then the Ohio. And everything is connected by bridges. And I was at Washington Plaza. And I was with two of my buddies, and we wanted to check out an apartment complex on the south side. So in order to get to the south side, you got to cross the Birmingham Bridge. But to get to the Birmingham Bridge, you either go down into the city, take Fifth Avenue and come up Fifth Avenue, and then take the spiral staircase onto the Birmingham Bridge, or you could cut across a highway and jump over a median strip and land on the bridge that way.
That didn't work out as planned, did it?
So we decided, yeah, this is way faster and it's shorter and we should be there. No problem. So I was the guy in front and I'm cutting across the Boulevard of the Allies, which is also known as 376, which is a major highway thoroughfare. And so at 8:30 at night, 9 o'clock at night, and you got cars coming at, 75, 80 miles an hour.
Pittsburgh drivers are wonderful, by the way.
Yeah. And I run across the highway and there's cars coming and there's no median strip. There's just there's no shoulder. There's just median strips. So I pummel horse this median strip. Like I'm expecting the other side of the street, bridge, road, highway to be there. And there was a 5-foot gap that I didn't see. And I hit that wall and fell 65 feet onto rocks. Straight down. And I landed next to 2nd Street. And I don't know if anybody knows anything about 2nd Street, but it's an alley. And I mean, there's no way anybody was going to find me. It's wild. It's a wild story. I remember waking up at the bottom and seeing the street lights to 5th Avenue. And I'm like, I'm going to have to crawl to 5th Avenue if I'm going to get out of here. And then I lost consciousness again. And then my buddy, two of my buddies that I was with, John, he found me and was like, we got you, buddy. We're going to flag you down. We'll get some help. And then I blacked out again. And then that was, I remember the paramedics picking me up onto the longboard. And I just remembered to let me die, guys. Just let me die. Fast forward. That's the whole reason why I started EMS. I was doing fire department stuff, but I joined EMS after I recovered because I'm alive today because somebody else stood the wall. So it was my turn to stir the wall. So I did that for like the next 15 years.
You're always paying it forward.
Trying to. I've gotten so much help along the way, not just by the God Almighty, but from the people that He's surrounded me with. I could not be here if it wasn't for so many other people, even people that I don't know. I tried to find those paramedics and those EMTs that saved me that night. I couldn't find them.
It might have been angels.
It might have been. You want to hear something really?
Oh, you and I always love these conversations.
This is. Oh, I can't believe I'm going to tell these 2 stories. Do you mind? You indulge me?
Go for it.
All right. So the first story is this. And again, I don't know anything. Like I have my personal faith, as you know. And it's definitely gotten stronger since I've been in Phoenix. The first story is that the night of that landing, I lost consciousness when I hit the ground. I regained consciousness, and the very first thing that I thought of was, Reader's Digest, drama in real life. It used to be, there's 2 sections of Reader's Digest that I used to read at my grandparents' house all the time. It was drama in real life, which is always some crazy story.
Yeah.
And then laughter is the best medicine.
I loved that one.
For the jokes, exactly.
Yeah. And the military jokes. Those were good too.
Yeah. So I'm reading drama in real life, and there's a story about a farmer whose tractor bucks, and he rolls out the backside of the tractor, and the plow that he's dragging rolls over him and breaks his back in a bunch of spots. And so the story is this guy has to crawl on his elbows to his pickup truck, gets the door open, grabs his seatbelt, pulls himself into his pickup truck, and drives him to the hospital. I thought to myself, I got to crawl out of here on my elbows. This is going to be insane. Like, I got to be like a farmer. And also, it was like red ant infested fields, and so he was all bit up, and it was a very dramatic story. Then, after that thought hit me, I passed out again. When I recovered, the second time I woke up, I'm just telling you what I encountered. It's what I encountered. I am surrounded by a host of people. And it is warm, and it is a glowing yellow, and like to the best of my ability to describe it, they kind of looked like, I don't know if you watched any of the Lord of the Rings stuff, but like when Frodo puts on the ring and he can see it, he doesn't see the monsters anymore. He sees what the
Shire,
the old kings used to look like. It looked like that, but warm and comforting and bright, but not shining. And they're all around me, and I'm looking at them, and they're looking at me, and that's when John runs through them, and they all just disappear. And John's like, "We found you, buddy. We're going to get you help. Don't worry, we're going to get you help." That was the first encounter that I've had. The second one is just as otherworldly, but I don't know what to make of it. I'm just going to tell you the story, and everybody in the chats can come up with their own conclusions. I used to be a manager at a comic book store, and the owner would every year there were 4 guys that had birthdays all in January, and so Loop would always throw a really big Stormwatch birthday party like they would rent out an entire bar, and every customer and everything would all go to the bar, and they would celebrate, these 4 birthdays. And Michael Burke's brother, Dennis, married a woman right off the boat, Irish. Her name is Asling, and she was a psychic.
Okay.
That's how she made her money. She was a psychic. Now, that's the backstory. My grandfather died in 2003, and he was my absolute best friend in the whole universe. He was best man in my first wedding. Like he was everything. And he died in 2003. My son Jacob was born in 2004, April of 2004. There were 2 miscarriages before Jacob was born. And we didn't tell anybody. It was embarrassing. It was a family thing. We didn't tell anybody. I didn't tell anybody. And so Grandpa dies in February of 2003. The birthday party is January 2004. Jacob is born April 2004. Asling comes up to me, and I've only met her a handful of times through Dennis, pleasantries only. Asling comes up to me and she says, "I have to talk to you." And I was like, "All right, cool. What's up?" And she was like, "No, I need to talk to you in private." And I said, "Okay." So we go and find a little private area of the bar, and she's like, "He won't leave me alone." And I was like, "Who won't leave you alone?" And she was like, your grandfather. He wants me to tell you that he's taking care of your son and daughter until you get here.
Okay, you're gonna make me cry. Holy cow. Sorry.
Yeah. And I'm like, wow, he's my grandfather and my everything, and he's now watching over my 2 lost children. it's pretty intense. So again, I don't know. We try very hard on Curmudgeon's Corner to stay right down the neutral. We don't do religion. We don't do politics.
Oh,
But
I fully embrace all of it.
but that strikes a
Yeah.
very that hits a really hard chord, and it's factual. So it happened to me, and it wasn't one of those, you see those psychics on television where they ask leading questions and they do all this
Yeah.
stuff. I didn't give her any prompts. She came looking for me and was like, "You need to know he won't leave me alone until I tell you. So I'm telling you to get him off my back."
You're kind of like, yeah, I dealt with him my whole life and he's doing what he wants to do.
Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's heavy. It's kind of
So,
beautiful. I had 2 miscarriages in between my kids, so
oh,
that hits me hard.
I'm sure.
There's that hope.
Yeah, there really is that hope.
Yeah.
I'm
Wow.
in.
That took a turn I wasn't expecting,
Yeah,
but
me
not a
too.
bad one.
I had no idea 45 minutes ago we'd be talking about this.
That's the beauty of you and I's conversations, though, because this man will come and bring me chemicals, and somehow we end up literally debating all of life and like eternal situations. We've cried together sitting on my couch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We've had some very, I think, honestly, out of anyone in the detailing industry, I've had the most meaningful conversations with you, with out of anyone. So
Well, I'm
I've
honored.
always cherished that.
Well, yeah, because I
Bill says, "I'm
usually
not crying, you're crying."
in the past, exactly. In the past, I would see
Aaron's good for
you.
that.
I would come see you, drop off chemicals, and then go see Brian, and we'd have lunch. And then, like, our conversations were going from half hour to an hour to 2 hours to 3 hours. And I was
My
like,
kids are home from school, and I'm like, "Okay."
yeah, I was like, Brian, from now on, I'm going to see you first and then end with her, because that way, if I show up at 2 o'clock and we talk until 5, it's okay. I'm not crushing anybody.
I'm that girlfriend that's just gonna chat your face off.
I'm all right with
Don't
that.
come to my shop and not expect to have a good heartfelt talk.
Again, like, the reason why I love your podcast is that you're such a great conversationalist, period. What's up,
Wow.
Eddie?
Thank you. Yeah. Everyone, hopefully you've been enjoying the conversation. I know it has nothing to do with detailing, but if anything, it's helped you respect Aaron and some of the, the title. When I was trying to figure out, like, we're talking about talks new products and hard lessons, I knew that we were going to go somewhere like this. And I know that you've had some hard struggles with
Yeah.
developing this brand and
Yeah.
that it has brought you to your knees. It kind of makes me like, wonder why would anybody really want this for their life? Do you look back on the last few years with Phoenix EOD and do you say, the best is yet to come or
Yeah. Oh yeah, we have not even begun to make it. We haven't
that's
even
what I love
we,
about you
we
because I
haven't even
know how
started.
hard it's been.
Yeah, we haven't even started. I mean, I to be honest, Eddie, like, somebody once gave me a hard time about it. He's like, "Why do you always kiss Eddie and Jamie's ass so much?" And I was just like, if you knew the behind the scenes of my relationship with Eddie and Jamie and what they have done for me, and again, paying it forward, like Christian from BioBombs, has been a really, as far as business wise is concerned, I look at him as my big brother. Like, he's 7 years old, I'm 4 years old, and all the things that he's done to build his business and just scrap for every inch of his empire has been a real inspiration. But then to have somebody like Jamie and Eddie, who are as successful as they are, from their individual stuff, and then their collaboration with Thor, they owed me nothing. They didn't know there's like we talked about, jokingly in the beginning of the podcast. There's a million companies out there. They're white labels and private labels and actual individual, independently owned companies. And I'm a very small fish in a very big ocean. And Eddie and Jamie took a chance on me back in October, and they invited me to go to SEMA with them and share their limelight. And they didn't have to do any of that. And so, you want to know why I quote unquote kiss their ass so much, is because I'm eternally grateful. I honestly thought that the question you were going to ask me was, if you had to do it all over again, would you have started Phoenix? I thought that was going to be your question, and I have mixed feelings for that. One, I look at the good that we've been doing as a company, the Pay It Forward campaign and the community that we're bringing together and stuff like that. So that on a selfish, personal level, I love that. I live for this community. I mean, I live for this community. Next week, we're going to Myrtle Beach, and I think there's anywhere between 9 to 12 of us going down there just to kind of hang out and be whatever. There's one, Charleston Detail. He's going to be there next week. Selfishly, I love it. And I wouldn't change a thing. The fight, I wouldn't change the fight, because I mean, without the darkness, you can't understand light. From a family point of view, I don't know if I would. From a
Has it been
family
hard?
point, it's been very hard. I mean, my wife has been my biggest supporter, but I know that I have been through hell, and I bring it home with me. And she's like, "You're not the same person that you were. You're like, you're not this, you're not that." And I mean, it's hardened me. And you have to, like, for example, Fin Rear was supposed to be launched, a soft launch tonight and a hard launch on Saturday. It's not going to happen until July now because of supply chain issues. Rick Smith has been a great help. He's a truck driver, so he's got nothing better than to call me, and we'll talk for hours. And he's been a real crutch. I can vent to him, and he's always just positive. He's like, "Don't worry about it, man. Everything's going to be fine. All right. So what? 2 weeks is 2 weeks. Who gives a rat's ass?"
Seriously,
And
if it's worth waiting for, we will wait for
I
it.
know, but I have such high standards and demands for me, and when it's out of my control, like if I don't have, like, for example, I don't miss deadlines unless it's out of my control. So if I said, "Chelsea, I will have you X amount of bottles of something tomorrow," and I get the product or the raws to make it, I will still be at the warehouse tonight through the night and get those bottles done and make sure that you get them by tomorrow. But when it's out of my control, like, "Oh, you know what? We're actually waiting on sandalwood. Yeah, we're not going to get sandalwood
I'm
until
sorry,
the
it's my fault.
20th. What do you mean you're not going to get sandalwood to the 20th? Like, it's not that hard of a scent. I'm not asking for unicorn horn. I'm just so. Just for the record, I don't sound like that. Oh, he
was just
does.
gonna say.
Oh, yes, he does. Yes, I'm Rick Smith. What's going on? I live in Tennessee, but I tell everybody I'm from Virginia. Anyway,
I love that you have such a huge community of friends and supporters that are watching and tuning in.
I love these people. I honestly,
We've got Papa Smurf. Everyone's been
it's
chatting.
the only reason why I still am in the saddle is because of you guys. It's true. And I tell every customer that I have, if it's not for you, we don't have a company. If it's not for you, we don't have a company. I love these guys and gals. Thank you, Sock. I appreciate that. All right. So anyway, that just reminded me to get back to your original question. So the original question was, if I started Phoenix, would you guys help me? And you all said yes. And there were 4 guys that I was extremely close with at the time. It was Brian Webster from Fab Automotive Detailing, Eric Pacru from Papa Smurf. It was Brian Spittler from Apex Auto Detailing. At the time, it was Apex Auto Detailing. And then it was
Phil Miranda.
Yeah, we want to talk about South Carolina a lot and make you want to be down there. Okay, star that. I'll get to that in a second. All right, and then Phil Miranda from Miranda Detailing, and I, if I do this, will you guys help me? Will you help promote it? Will you do all this stuff on your channels and stuff like that? And they all said absolutely. So as I was going through the process, I mean, in the beginning, it's just labelless bottles with a bunch of stuff in there. Like, we did 7 different versions of Papa Cut before we got everybody on board with, like, hey, this stuff is fire. We're changing the formula, going back to the chemist. Well, they want more cycle time. They want it to finish down longer. They want this, they want that. And so, that was what was really cool in the beginning, is having that chemist in your back pocket where you could just do anything that you wanted to do and change formulas and all that stuff. But
time out real quick.
Sure.
When you started Phoenix EOD,
yes,
correct me if I'm wrong, you had an investor to help you support you, right?
All right. So Yes and no.
Okay.
When I first, all right, so when I first started EOD, I met a guy on a river in the middle of of Idaho, middle fork of the Salmon River.
Doesn't sound suspicious at all. Let's go ahead.
We were on a boat. We were on a fishing ship. Me and my dad were on a fishing ship, and you go down with like 7 other couples. And at the end of each night, because it's a 5-day float trip down this river. So at the end of each night, everybody gets together for a communal dinner, and every afternoon you get together for a communal lunch. And by day 2, you're starting to introduce yourself and get to know people, and then by day 3, you're actually talking. And I met this guy. His name is Art Morrison from AM Morrison. I had no idea who he was, but apparently Art is one of the original Illuminati of the automobile world. He's been to every SEMA since its inception of like 1969 in Pasadena, California, when it was held at a flea market, swap meet.
I'm just going to pause you right here. And I've said this every single time that you and I talk. If you cannot see that God's providence has been on your life from the time you were born to your non-median accident to meeting a man in the middle of a river.
That's why I'm such I'm such a tragic story. Seriously, I know you're right, Chelsea. You're right, and we've had this conversation. I look back and I go, "Yep, there's, yep.
Anyways, Presume. I just I see it. I think everyone else sees it in the chat.
Thank you, David. I try. All right, so I meet Art, and Art is and he finally gets to know a little bit about me and that I'm working for this chemical company and blah, 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 blah. And he says, "Are you going to go to SEMA this year?" And I said, "I really wasn't planning on going. I've had my fill of SEMA. The company that I keep out there is not what I wanted. I don't want to deal with that, because when I used to go to SEMA, it was the people that I would go with were going to that for all the wrong reasons. I wanted to go to the seminars and learn stuff and meet people and stuff like that. And they wanted to use it for what Las Vegas is known for. Mm-hmm. Anyway. So he's like, "Well, if you come, I'll introduce you to some people." And I said, "Okay, that's cool." So I went out there and I went to SEMA again that year, and he introduced me to like Motor Trend and all these different people all over everything. It was pretty fun, phenomenal. And that was 2019. 2020, we had COVID. And so I was furloughed for 6 months, 8 months. I can't remember. But during that time period, I tried to learn everything that I possibly could about chemicals, and in particular detail chemicals. And at the time, the connection that we had with that company out in Colorado, I was able to talk to the rep and basically break down each product line by line, what it does, how it works, why it works the way that it works, and and the synergistic properties behind using combinations and stuff like that. So that was really, really fascinating to me. Come back from furlough, and things have just gotten crazy toxic. And I remember the sales manager. And now I built this team. I had the sales manager, I had the ops manager, I had the warehouse manager. They were people that I knew from old jobs that I had that I could trust, and we were like a little brotherhood. And like, if I was struggling with something, they would help me out. If they were struggling with something, we would help them out. It was really cool. And then it just got really, really toxic. And then the sales manager quit in December. The ops manager quit, a rage quit in February, and he was my best friend, and so I didn't take that well, and then I got a phone call from somebody who was just like, "Hey, this is what I'm thinking. You want in on it?" And I said, "Yes, I do." So I went home and I talked to my dad, and I asked him what his thoughts were, and he was like, "Let's make a business plan right now. Let's do it. Let's map it out." Da, 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 da. So
what a great dad.
Right. And then I was like, "All right, so we've got all of these pieces. I have the plan. Now I just need to go and find some investors." And being an EMS for like 15 years, you have access to all kinds of doctors and people with money. And so I approached them, and they were like, "Yeah, let's do it. Let's do this. How much do you need?" And I'm like, "Well, let's do some seed money and then some more money after that." So that was that. And then I had those pieces. And so then that's when I called Art and I said, Art, do you know any chemists? And he was just like, I might. Here's a phone number. Tell him that I told him that tell him that I sent you. He'll work with you. And so I did that. And then that's when I approached the Horsemen and said, hey, I'm going to launch. Will you guys help me? And they said, yes. And so that was July of 21, less than a year outside of the pandemic. The best time to start a company.
Yeah, totally.
Let's do it. And
you
then
were so desperate to get out, though, I think.
Yeah, it was so bad. It was so. Oh, and then I forgot to mention that in April the warehouse manager quit.
Yeah, I remember
that.
Yeah,
everybody's gone. I mean, it was gone. It just had crumpled in on itself, and I don't know.
Share
Anyway,
with me a little bit the peek behind the curtain. When you say I have a chemist, and I know
yeah,
there's probably NDAs and things that you
sure,
can't disclose a lot of.
yeah.
Like, how does that work? Is it literally a mad scientist sitting in a warehouse somewhere where he's like got these tubes and
So
he's just mixing things all the time? Are there
no, I'll tell you exactly
you
how.
always explained it to me that it was like a chocolate chip recipe, that you can veer a little bit from it, like if you have, kind of the
Yeah, so
formulation. How does that work?
Papa Cut is a perfect example of this. So the chemist, he had been in the industry for a very, very long time.
Was he still with a bigger blender, or was he kind of just like
no, he's now he's I would say semi-retired. He's more of a consultant now, sits
Okay.
on, like people will reach out to him and be like, hey, what about this? What are your thoughts on that? And so on and so forth. So basically what he does is, like, for Papa Cut, he sent me a base formula. I was like, we want a diminishing compound. And so he goes through his Rolodex or whatever, 70 something year old man.
cookbook?
Cookbook. He goes through his cookbook and he goes, all right. And he sends me, they made they're called, micro blends. He made me a micro blend of this batch of stuff. And like, normally it's like, you have to, if you're buying, from what I understand, if you're buying, like, private label or white label of something and you want to change it a little bit, it's like 110 gallons. We're going to make you 110 gallons of whatever. And that's 110 gallons is a lot for a mistake.
Yeah.
And it's expensive. So again, having this guy who's as what's the word? Influential, notorious, notoriety. I don't know what the word is. Infamous as this guy is, he has the ability to, use a blender and go, I need, I said, I need 8 pints of each. Every time we do anything, I need 8 pints. So he's like, I need 8 pints of this diminishing compound. And he sends me the diminishing compound, and then I send it off to you guys. And then I have like these notebooks of just data where it's like, everybody hates this, everybody loves this, and it's hit or miss over here in these categories. And then I write it up in an email and I send it back to him, and I'm like, all right, so this is the problem. And I need more. I remember Papa Cut in the beginning had real cycle time issues. It didn't cycle for anything. It was like 2 passes and it was dry. So
now it has like the longest cycle time.
Yeah. We just kept dialing and cranking that number.
And it doesn't dust. It's awesome.
I want more. I want this. I want that. I want this. I want that. And then I remember the email that I got where it was like, he was like, dude, you are so far off the original formula. I can without a doubt say this is 100% your formula. And I'm like, yes, it is, mofo.
And it cost me that much money to get
Yeah. Good thing I have these investors.
So what I was getting at is, I know, you alluded to like around September when you came on with Thor, that it was kind of a God thing. And you had shared with me early on that you had an investor, but that there was some like major changes that had occurred with your investors and things like that.
They didn't see the ROI.
Yeah.
We've had a couple of pretty heavy misses. As far as budgeting and advertising was concerned. Motor Trend didn't work out as nearly as much as we had anticipated it.
Mhm.
And it's funny again talking about being divine intervention. Um, we spent a crazy amount of money to ramp up for what we thought was going to happen with the House of Rags, or with Motor Trend. We ramped it up. I mean, I bought machines, I bought product, I bought and boxes, brought in employees. Like, here we go, we're all hands on deck. We're gonna, we're gonna have to be able to, bump out 80,000 bottles in a weekend. Let's do this. And it didn't happen nearly as grandiose as that. And then Southern Detailers Conference. I flew in all the four horsemen to the Southern Detailers Conference. We literally had the busiest booth,
I
hands
saw that.
down, at SDC. The problem with SDC was they had changed venues. Apparently, the original patriarch of the whole thing died the year before, and they did zero advertising. And I mean, Wheelie is the show coordinator, and I was like, Wheelie, 100% of 200 people is still absolute ass. Like, what are you talking about, dude? You didn't share, like, anything that I did on social media. You guys didn't do anything on social media. You did nothing to promote the show. And here I am, I'm spending thousands of dollars bringing all these guys in and making a weekend out of it and the whole nine yards. So anyway, at some point, the investors were like, I think we're good here. I think we gave it the old college try. And I was like, well, I mean, we agreed that it was going to take 5 years to get where we needed to be. And we're at year 3. And you guys want to pull the plug on this. I'm not pulling the plug. You're going to put me in the grave. I will die wearing this shirt before I pull the plug on this.
So then what happened?
Do you really want me to tell the story? All right.
You made me cry once already. Why not? He's sipping his apple juice.
All right.
Do you really need liquid courage for this?
I do. If anybody's ever been a fan of Curmudgeon's Corner, and you've watched Curmudgeon's Corner, you know that we push mental health a lot on that channel, and the sense of community and building each other up. And the 8 minutes. I don't know if you've heard the 8-minute story, but basically, in a nutshell, if you text somebody or call somebody, hey, you got 8 minutes, it means that they're really in a crisis and you need to talk to them, because psychiatry says that it only takes 8 minutes to reset somebody's brainwaves into a more positive atmosphere. So we push it a lot on Curmudgeon's Corner: mental health awareness, suicide prevention. Chelsea, I can't believe you did this to me.
Aaron, you don't have to go there if you don't want to go
September
there.
of last year, I was done. I was out. I woke up at like 3 o'clock in the morning. I was in a full-blown panic attack, and things were looking bleak. Sales were down. I had, investors that I need to pay back eventually, and 100 other problems in my brain. And I said, you know what? And me, my backstory of being religious, where it's like, who are you? Who do you identify with in the Bible? And, everybody wants to be, if you're familiar with the Bible, everybody wants to be Peter, the right hand of Jesus, his best friend. He pulls a sword and cuts off a soldier's ear, and he's just awesome. He's the cool guy, first pope, all that cool stuff. But I was always Thomas the Doubter. I needed to see something. I needed to feel something. And so my spiritual walk for like the last 40 years has always been doubting. Do you exist? Where are you? Who are you? Like, do you really care? There was a quote from Constantine, the movie Constantine with Keanu Reeves. He's like, you want to know who God is? God is a kid with an ant farm. And I said, I always felt like that's That's got to be it. That's got to be it. We are an experiment. I mean, how else do you explain 40,000 things that I've seen in EMS and explain, strife around the world and all that stuff. So anyway, I was always doubting my faith. And even with all of these interventions, it's kind of like, yeah, but I mean, it's possible that it could be explained away through science. You don't know that for sure. Anyway, so September of this past year, I was really in a bad way. Woke up in a panic attack. And I don't know if anybody's ever had a panic attack, but it's so completely illogical and irrational. You can't explain it. You have no idea why.
You can't even think to breathe.
Yeah. And you're clutching your chest and you're just like, so I cry out to the Lord and I said, I'm done. This is my last day on earth. If you don't show me you, I'm out. That morning I came downstairs, getting ready to go to work like I always do. And there was a letter sitting on the pub table where I always, I keep my hat and my wallet and all that stuff. And there's a letter sitting there, and it's from an old college professor. 30 years ago, college professor, still been my friend ever since, and checks in on me time to time. And I open up the letter and it just says, God loves you. I love you. And there was a check inside. And I had a lot of apologizing to do to the Almighty. So that happened. I got down on my knees and I tried to repent as hard as I could. And then I'm having a conversation with Christian from BioBombs, also available at Thor, thehouseofrags.com. Anyway, I get a phone call from Christian. And like I said, I was always picking his brain about, different business strategies and price points and vendors and how how do you know what price to cut them and stuff like that. And he asked me kind of like, what are you doing, man? How are you doing? And I told him, I'm not great. I'm not great, but I'm still in the game. And I kind of gave him a little bit of, the financial woe, if you will. And he got online and he looked at my website and he's like, yeah, your website's kind of clunky. I'm sure there's a way that we could probably fix that up and do this and do that. And I said, well, I'm just, I'm at the whim of paying it forward. I'm at the whim of some of my friends who helps me build my webpage. So I'm like on their timeline whenever they can help me. And it is what it is. 2 days later, I get a phone call from Eddie. Eddie says, hey man, you got a few minutes? And I said, yeah, what's up? And he's like, I'm going to fix your website. And so he got on air and within 5 hours, he had completely revamped my website. We changed e-commerce platforms from WooCommerce to Shopify, because once upon a time, Jamie and Eddie came on my podcast and the website crashed because they did a big promo and it crashed. So that was embarrassing. So they fixed my website. And then I get about a week after that, I get a phone call from Eddie and Jamie that says, hey, we want you to come to SEMA. And I said, I can't do it. There's no way. I've already lost too much on the SDC and all these other failed attempts. Mm-hmm. I can't do it. Like, I just don't have it. And Eddie and Jamie, they were kind of insistent, and I held firm. I'm like, dude, I can't do it. Cannot financially do it. Like, I can't. I'm sorry. And they were like, all right, it is what it is. And they hung up. About 20 minutes later, I get a phone call from Christian. And he just verbally beats my ass. And he was just like, are you kidding me, dude? Let me ask you a question. Have you quit? Have you quit Phoenix? And I was like, no, I haven't quit Phoenix. Why am I still standing? Da, da, da. Well, it sounds to me like you're quitting Phoenix. And I'm like, why would you say something like that? And he's like, the two hottest guys in the detailing world right now and are beating all the cages and shaking up everything. They've invited you to go to SEMA and you said no to them. Are you serious right now? You said no to go into SEMA with like the hottest buzz in the industry right now. Well, I mean, when you put it that way, it sounds like kind of a dumb thing to say no to. He's like, dude, I don't care if you have to sell plasma, if you have to sell whatever, you get your ass to Vegas, and everything else will take care of itself. And I said, okay. I called them back and I said, if the offer's still on the table, I would love to be a part of Thor at SEMA. And the rest is history. Like, they breathed life back into Phoenix. The third time Phoenix has rose from the ashes. So I told
You're
them,
like a cat.
I told them that I said, I will forever be under your banner. Forever. I don't care how great Phoenix becomes. I remember who helped and I pay it forward. So there we are. That's the whole circle.
Story.
Yeah.
And that I'll be honest, when you told me that story around my kitchen table, I cried. I saw God. I saw how God has something planned for you. And I know the best is yet to come.
Yeah. I'm excited.
But I will tell you this. You've got some pretty freaking awesome products right
Thanks.
now. I can only imagine what's next. Holy
Well,
cow.
I'll be honest. I again, like being able to surround myself. I've said this before, and it sounds very cliche, but it's like my job isn't to be the smartest guy in the room. My job is to get the smartest people in the room, and so being able to have Brian Spittler like within arm's reach has been so great, and and I
What
love
a
the
great
fact.
best friend to have. I mean, come
Oh, right. And I love the fact that he's selling off his BC line. I said, Brian, as soon as the ink dries, I am going to talk so much trash on your line. Like it's going to be relentless. Because I mean, and he laughs. We have a great time. Like I said, we have lunch at least once a month, if not more. But we had a problem with somebody they were having problems with the decontamination of a coating. And Brian was like, well, what is it? Labs Cosmetica or whatever it is.
Labo
Labsco.
Cosmetica.
Yeah. He said they're the only company that he really knows of that has a complete decon system. So it has a low pH wash, a high pH wash, and a beefy neutral pH wash. I don't know, Ron. I don't know. He will not tell me or anybody. And he said until all the legalities are done, he won't say anything. But I know it's somebody on the East Coast, and I know I can tell you for a fact it's not Thor or anybody
It's
related.
not me because I'm too broke.
Oh, sorry. I forgot to mention that Papa Smurf helped me get to SEMA. He had an obligation to me to go to the MTE, and then he had a conflict with his daughter doing what is it? Competitive cheer. And so I figured on a way out of this. I was like, hey, if instead of going to MTE, you want to go to SEMA with me, and split the cost with me. I'll let you out of your obligations to the MTE. And of course he said yes, because it no longer became a conflict for his daughter. And so, yes, I was able to make it to SEMA with the help of Papa Smurf splitting the cost with me. All right. Yeah. You got your 10 cents, bro.
Did he text you to literally be
Yeah,
like,
he did.
bro, don't leave me out?
Right here. Right. Oh yeah. I called Smurf to go with me to SEMA, and he said yes. You jerk. Don't even mention me. Whatever. So, there you go. Now he got his props.
Well, listen, we're over an hour and we haven't even gotten to really the products.
Okay.
Do you have time to stay?
Are you kidding me? I own the 6-hour plus championship. Okay. I have the bladder of a camel. All right. I used to work in
Not
a radio.
the way you're drinking.
I used to listen. 24 ounce cup of coffee. I used to work in a radio room for paramedics, 12-hour shifts. No problem.
That's not healthy. But anyways,
I know it's not.
we're going to go to a quick break. Stick around. We're going to get into the juice of the products in just a second. We'll be right back. So I do a ton of ceramic coatings here at my shop, and we all know that with coatings, maintenance is key. Now I do actually stock here at my shop some products for customers to purchase to maintain their ceramic coatings with. Specifically, I need products that are affordable, easy to use, and that give really good results. So for that, I'm looking for a soap that has really good lubrication, that's going to wash effectively, doesn't necessarily need to have a ton of frills, but I want something that a little bit is going to go a long way, because obviously we want maximum value for my customers. But I also want a ceramic drying aid that's going to offer lubrication for a safer drying method, refresh the hydrophobics, give really nice gloss and shine, no streak results, and increase the slickness. So that way their vehicle doesn't get as dirty as quickly, and honestly, it'll look like it was freshly detailed every time they wash and dry. So for that, we have Phoenix EOD, Apex Auto Wash, and their Titan Hybrid Detailer. This is a fantastic soap. A little bit goes a long way. All you really need is a thimble size amount in your bucket, and you're going to get fantastic suds. You can foam this on, use it as a contact wash. It's going to do a great job at safely and gently washing your vehicle, especially a ceramic coated vehicle. Then when it comes to a ceramic detailer or drying aid, I absolutely love Titan. It smells fantastic. A little bit goes a long way. You only need maybe 1 to 2 sprays per panel. It's going to give you a safer drying method, refresh the hydrophobics, increase slickness and gloss. Fantastic value for both of those products. So for those of you that want to know, what do I sell to my customers here at my shop to maintain their ceramic coated vehicle with? None other than Phoenix EOD. If you haven't tried any of these products out, use coupon code A2D10 over at the House of Rags to try them out for yourself today. But let's go ahead and get back to the show.
That is so awesome. Thank you so much. You're the best.
I had to come up with a commercial. Jamie and Eddie, they've asked us to start pulling our weight here by doing a little bit more promoting. Because I feel like, honestly, I've been coasting with just enjoying these conversations, and sometimes I get so consumed in the conversations that I'm like, oh wait, I have a job to do. Yep. This is actually the House of Rex YouTube channel, which they all have fantastic products. So for me, it was a no-brainer when I'm doing a commercial for Phoenix EOD to talk about your Apex Auto Wash and Titan Ceramic Dealer, which, by the way, I'm getting low on products. I need to restock. So
I'll be there Saturday if you want.
We'll talk.
But yeah, by the way, boys and girls, that is 100% accurate. For the last going on 4 years, Chelsea has stocked her cabinets with bottles.
I'm not lying.
Yeah, she gives it to all of her customers. So that is legit the truth.
I actually have people that drive all over the place. I'm like, you can buy them on Amazon. They're like, I'll come to you to buy. I'm like, okay. Yeah. They can get it at the House of Rags now too, and use
get it at the House of Rags everywhere you are.
But let's talk products, okay? So we're gonna add this to the stage.
Thanks, Cash. Appreciate you. Sorry.
No, you're fine. We've got Phoenix EOD over at the House of Rags. All right. Number one, what is your most popular product that you sell?
Titan, hand down.
Titan.
Yeah.
It's so stinking affordable, and it works so well. I have customers. Did I ever tell you about my one customer? I sold him a bottle of Titan, and like a month after I sold him the bottle, he's like, man, I love that Titan stuff, but I need me another bottle. And I was like, you just bought it. I said, how much did you? He washed his car with Titan, like literally sprayed the entire thing down. I was like, that had to be slick as snot. And he said, what's great is it didn't streak. And I'm like, that's fantastic, but you only need 1 to 2 sprays per panel. He's like, oh, okay. But that's just how foolproof Titan is, that even if you screw it up and pour the whole bottle in the vehicle, it gives you streak-free results. Everyone literally in the comment section is going off. I think, honestly, that is your best-selling product for sure.
Hands down it is. And it needed to be like, it was the very first product that we made. and it was the one that we launched with, and I said, this one has to be the best of the best of the best. And we had, as many different, whenever we go to do a product, I always go and buy, one of my marketing guys has algorithms to what is the best sellers on Amazon. And so I always will try to buy the best sellers to have it in the warehouse so that I have something to compare it to.
Mhm.
I said Titan has to, what does Eddie say? It has to slap.
Yeah.
Yeah, it has to slap more than anything else, because if Titan doesn't work, then they're not going to give anything else in the arsenal a try. If you're leading with your best product, it's like, wow, this is so good. I need to, see what else they have.
Well, and
And
I know we live in a day and age where it feels like everyone is coming out with a ceramic detailer.
yeah,
It's like the new quick detailer,
well, you want to, a secret?
What?
It's because it's the easiest to make.
Is it expensive to make though?
Not really,
With the
no.
SiO2?
Not really.
Well, that's why yours is so affordable.
Yeah.
But I will say this, what I was trying to get at, I know that there's a lot of options on the market, especially in this category. But there's a reason why I chose this for my customers. Because I've even had customers say to me, "Is there anything better that I should try? I used up all my Titan. Do you recommend something different?" And I'm like, there's a lot of options out there. And I'm like, but honestly, for the price, for how easy it is to apply, for the results that you get, this is what I would recommend. And they're like, okay, we'll keep going with it. And they keep buying it time after time. I've had some customers buying it for 2, 3 years.
That's awesome. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
So
Yeah, but
let's
again, that's the reason why so many companies like they have this is because it's like 6 ingredients. It's a pretty
Is it
no-brainer.
mostly water?
A good portion of it is, yeah, for sure.
What would you say the percentage of SiO2 is in Titan?
Oh God. Uh,
Don't even know.
yeah, I haven't done algebra since. Uh, I mean, I don't know if I have the formula on my desktop here at home. Uh,
It can't be that heavy because of the lack of streaking. I mean, the higher the
Yeah, well,
is where you're
I
gonna
would say
get.
that the bigger problem that you have, and this is something that it's currently being played with. It's the emulsifier that is,
Yeah,
it's always been giving me the most problems.
it separates.
It's not that it separates, it's that, so, all right, look at it like, your vinaigrette on your tabletop, on your kitchen table. Vinaigrette will separate water and oil. They don't like to play with each other. And then so right before you eat your salad, you got to shake it up really good well, you have the same thing with Titan or any detailer. SiO2 doesn't want to play with water. Right? It doesn't want to. They
Wants
like,
to repel it.
yeah, exactly. One's the Jets and one's the Sharks. The end.
Mhm.
So you have to throw a referee in there to get everybody to play together. Um, you got to throw mom in there to keep the boys from fighting. And when you have a really, really strong emulsifier, and that's also what gives, that will also help with the longevity. So at 3 months of longevity or protection with Titan, you have a really strong emulsifier in there. And emulsifiers sometimes don't care what they're grabbing. So when you add a scent and you add a color, it will try to grab those two to keep everything together. And scents and colors sometimes are oil based. And so when they're oil based, you're adding a whole third component into the pot. And that's where you get that clumpiness. It's like it's grabbing scent, it's grabbing dye, which is why it's usually green and not blue. Um, and it's very, very sticky because that's where it's grabbing that SiO2 as well. So it's grabbing all this stuff and it's acting stupid. So we've been experimenting with the blending process. And more importantly, we've been experimenting with different emulsifiers. And I think I might be coming. I don't know if I'm going to keep both products, Titan and then say Titan Plus, but I we've been experimenting with using a less strong emulsifier, but it will shorten the lifespan of the detailer. So instead of it being a 3-month detailer, maybe it's now a 1-month detailer.
Okay.
But my thought process is, you're not going 3 months without washing your car, and you can use Titan with every wash. So
Yeah.
if we were to shorten the lifespan, but make it glossier and slicker, and not even have to worry about the clumping or it's separating or be acting like a jerk,
Yeah.
isn't that I think that's a win all the way across the board. And so that's what we're currently experimenting with. Yeah, it's nice to tout, oh, we'd last for 3 months and so on and so forth. But realistically, nobody's going that long without washing their car. So
I
who
mean,
cares?
some of my customers are, but they're not going to care.
Right. I know I do,
If
but
you
that's just
have a
because I try
coated
to keep my
vehicle,
what's that?
yeah, if you have a coated vehicle, that base layer should still be good. So basically, this is more of like a glorified what you're thinking of developing is more of a glorified ceramic drying aid.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I
So
mean,
Titan
it'll still
Plus could be just a ceramic drying aid. And
it's
then
true.
Titan could be your ceramic detailer.
This is true as well.
Mm.
See,
What do you guys think in the
this
comment
is
section?
why I
I'm
lean on
seeing,
you so heavily, Chelsea.
well, I'm just a person and I always tell you that. I'm an opinion, but it seems like everyone says slicker.
Yeah, slicker. You
Could
had me
we
at slicker.
make it
Man,
sheet?
dude, we had this stuff. It was like, I mean,
Could we
we're
make it
talking,
sheet?
yeah,
I
probably
mean,
not, probably not on an SiO2 level, but on a polyxylazine level, you probably could. Yeah,
okay. I feel like people need to make more sheeting products.
100%.
Beads
First,
are
first and foremost,
beautiful.
sheeting
They're
is
fun.
better than beading, but the industry has grown up embracing the beading because beading looks cool. It's
Yeah.
great for photo ops. Everybody loves when they see the bead when they see beading. Oh, there's still protection on the surface. Yeah, but if it sheets and it gets that water off of there, what happens when beading sits on your car and dries? Now you have 80 million little tiny dots all over everything. And not only that, but the beading also creates a magnifying glass, and you get what is called micro pitting. So if you have a billion beads on the surface of your car and it's sitting in direct sunlight because it's not sheeting off and it's just sitting there, you are putting little tiny holes, boo, 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 all across your clear coat or coating or whatever it is. It's called micro pitting. That's what it does.
Did Brian teach
It
you that?
he did.
It sounded like a Brian thing
It
because
totally
I was
did.
like, he didn't know that on his own. That's totally a
No, are you
Brian
kidding me?
thing.
I didn't even know what socks to put on until he told me. Are you kidding?
I was like, wow, Aaron, that is amazing.
No, I sit at his feet and we have lunch. And I've been to 7 of his classes that he does a biannual
Yeah.
seminar, a weekend seminar. I'll sit there, I'll bring up product to sponsor his show, but I just sit there and take notes and watch and do this and do that. Yeah.
Jamie says we need a foaming Phoenix sealant now.
Still on the whole Foamtown USA. Huh? I thought we broke him of that. I thought we
I
broke him of Foamtown USA when he
No,
had
I
his
think
rinseless.
honestly, these UK brands that are foaming on their protection, I think he's been taken to the other side a little bit. I mean, he
Well,
does love his foam.
we kicked their ass twice and we saved
Call
them
it the
twice.
big
And
sheet.
and we saved them twice. So I don't necessarily know if I'm going to take Europe's whatever. No,
If
I'm
it's
just kidding. I'm
sheeted,
just
I
kidding.
would be down for it. I
A big sheet.
honestly, as I'm getting older, I'm learning that beads are overrated. I've got 35 different ceramic coatings on my vehicle, and I've got 35 sections that have water spots on them now. Because when my customers' vehicles are in my garage, my car is outside, and we've had so much rain lately, haven't we, Aaron?
Yes. Oh my
Good
gosh. We
God,
got
every Saturday for
On
2 months
Friday
we've
we
had
got
rain.
3.5 inches of rain in one day on Friday. It was wild.
It has been insane amount of rain lately. I've had customers texting me like, "My car," and I'm like, "I can't control the rain." At least the inside's clean. But when it comes to maintenance products for my customers, Titan Hybrid Ceramic Detailer and Apex Auto Wash, share with us some tips on how to get the most out of Apex Auto Wash because I know a lot of people, it's a thinner soap.
Right.
And so their tendency is to just squeeze it out. How much do you really need?
All right. So Detail Doug, he tried to prove me wrong. It was awesome. He was we were rapping on the phone, and I said, Doug, the concentration is 600 to 1. All right. That's the dilution ratio, 600 to 1. So 1 ounce of Apex soap will almost fill a 5-gallon bucket, because a 5-gallon bucket is 640 ounces.
So when you
So
told me a thimble, I was
yes.
like, I mean, a thimble doesn't even fit on my pinky.
A thimble vise is basically what people use for sewing so
Yeah.
that they don't prick their finger. It's a little metal. It's a little
Yeah,
metal
I
cup
know
that
what it
sits.
is,
No,
but it's small. Maybe I have
Vice
a
Detail
fat
just asked what
finger.
it was. Vice
Oh,
Detail just asked what the
he
heck
aged
is a
himself.
thimble? So yeah, it's basically it's a little metal cup that sits on your finger, and that when you're sewing, you don't prick your finger. So I was telling Detail Doug this, and we were talking on the phone, and so then he went right out to his garage and made a video. It's on, you can see it on his YouTube channel, where he was like, Aaron tells me that a thimble can do this. And so he goes, I stole one of my wife's sewing thimbles, and he squeezed it into the little thimble, dropped it in a bucket, and then it filled the whole thing up with suds. The reason why it is so thin, surfactants, especially the better quality surfactants, won't tolerate a whole lot of crap. They just won't. And so if you remember, this is why we call this Apex V3, is that V2, we were trying to add thickening agents, and we were throwing thickening agents
Mhm.
at this stuff, trying to get it to be a little bit more viscous. And you would, after like a couple of weeks of sitting on the shelf, you would see all of that thickening agent sitting at the bottom of the bottle. And it was like, what is that? What is this white stuff at the bottom of the bottle? Well, that's the thickening agent. And it would not, as much as we tried to get it to blend, it just wouldn't do it. It kept dropping out after it's sitting for a little bit. So that's when we came up with version 3, which was like, all right, why don't we just do it? We'll add a better surfactant and get rid of the thickening agents completely.
Mhm.
And it's when we were making the Pelias panel prep is when we discovered this new surfactant. And I was like, well, if it does this for Pelias, what happens if we were to do this to Hydra and Apex? And that's when magic happened. So that's why Apex is so thin, but it's so super concentrated that when like I say, 600 to 1 in a 5-gallon bucket, which is 640 ounces, you're making 600 ounces of soap. So you do not need much. I mean, just
Yeah. So
and you're
that
good.
$14.99 for one, let's see, what is it? 16 ounces.
Yeah.
You're getting at least what? Like a ton of value,
Yeah, it's
basically.
crazy.
I don't do the algebra
I have a
either. I'm
guy
like,
that buys 5 gallons at a time, and I'm like, dude, that's going to make
yeah.
3,000 gallons worth of soap, guy.
I
Are you
literally have
sure?
customers buying Titan like 3 times faster than Apex. They're like, "I'm still good on soap."
Yeah. You don't need
Maybe
any. And that's if you're going to fill up a 5-gallon bucket. Most people I know, they only do like 2 or 3 gallons when they're washing their own car. So,
All right, we're gonna keep going down the line here.
all right.
We've got Papa Cut diminishing compound.
Yeah.
Now, this I will say, is this water based?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, it works extremely well at being able to cut through, and you can honestly, if you pair this with an orange foam pad, a yellow foam pad,
Yep.
fantastic one step. You don't have to use microfiber wool with it. But it finishes down beautifully, very little dusting, very easy wipe off. I do tend to like to use Hydra as my like wipe off
Sure.
for polishing residue. But honestly, absolutely love Papa Cut. Use it in a lot of situations where I either need a heavy cut or just a good one step when you pair it with the right pad. Do you have any Easter eggs or tips or
Well, both Papa Cut and Fab Finishing Polish, we wanted them to be very pad dependent.
Mhm.
So you have your baseline at about 1200 grit. But if you need more cut out of it, definitely use a firmer pad, or even I use a wool pad. and you can get a lot more bite out of it. But the fact that it diminishes down still doesn't, regardless of what that heavy duty pad that you're using, it's still going to finish down really, really nicely. At the same time, if you don't really want to cut that much, you can use a much softer pad and still get great results as far as a light cut, and it will still diminish down. The idea behind a diminishing compound is basically you have a very large soft particle and you have a very hard small particle, and as it vibrates around on your pad, it's banging into each other, and the hard particle is very slowly breaking down that large particle until that large particle is gone, and that's why it diminishes. That's how that works.
Shine Your Light Detailing. I mix Papa Cut and Fab Polish on the same pad, and it 100% finishes down even better. That's a great tip.
Yeah.
Are you doing like 2 drops of each?
I think that's how he does it. I think it's 2 and 2.
This is Sock, right?
No, that's Titan Tim.
Titan Tim. I never know everyone's usernames.
Detailing Made Simple is Sock.
Okay. If we could just start like using names for these username things, that would be fantastic. We should all be like Steve Pearson over here. He's just like,
He
hey,
says he does squiggles. He does squiggles. Whatever a squiggle is.
It sounds like it's pretty much a squiggle instead of dots. So fabulous finishing polish. Let me get these comments off here and let's switch back. Fabulous finishing polish, I think honestly has become one of my go-to for if I'm doing a 2-step, having to polish, because it literally has no dust, easy wipe off, and finishes down beautifully. And it has like a wicked long work time. I mean, even Papa Cut does, but fabulous finishing polish, I could do 4, 5, 6 passes.
Yep.
It rarely dries up on me. Sometimes when you're working a polish, it'll start to throw chunks, after you kind of worked it too long. This is just, it doesn't do that on me. And mind you, I'm not going 6 rounds with it, but if I wanted to work it longer, and it doesn't stain trim that I have found.
No, it doesn't. It was just awesome. Brian Apex taught me fab polish on a 50/50 Euro pad. And he says it does 80% of all the jobs that I have to do. Of course, he's not really working on, dinged up weekend warrior daily drivers, but he's 80% of the jobs is handled with a 50/50 Euro and fab polish, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. He's the one that turned me onto the Eurofiber.
Yep. He's a big champion of that.
So then we've got Gloss and Wax. And I feel like out of your entire line, this is the one that for some reason gets overlooked a lot. Would you agree?
It is easily the most overlooked product in my line. People are, everybody wants to do ceramics and so on and so forth. I will tell you this, Gloss and Wax is my favorite.
Why?
So I don't know if it's nostalgia or whatever it is, but I remember working on my dad would wash his car, and he'd have the old, this is going back to the 70s and 80s. When we were done, we would use the turtle wax. It had that tin with that wonky broken plastic lid that had the little pad inside it, and you layer it on the pad.
Pretty sure I still have a tin of it.
Yeah, I'm sure I do over there. Yeah. And and that's, the Karate Kid, and I was always the Karate Kid. So I do the wax on and then the wax off and so on and so forth. But so now going to Gloss and Wax, to me, there's nothing more intimate and satisfying when working on your car. And I'm speaking to the weekend warriors. I'm not so much talking to the detailers that have to churn out cars for their business, but more for the weekend warrior. If you enjoy just taking a Saturday, most of Saturday, and just washing your car and whatnot, I think Gloss and Wax, you can use it by hand, you can use it with a machine, it doesn't matter, but a wax leaves a warmer glow than any kind of ceramic will ever do. Like coatings are nice and everything like that, but I think for me, the wax, the way that it looks, the way that it feels, the way that it kind of shines and glows. It's a deeper gloss. It's a warmer gloss. And then when you top it off with Titan, the depth of gloss is so, like, it's almost like you're diving into the fourth dimension when you're looking at it. I have a picture on my phone. I was showing a customer today that I did with fab finishing polish, and here it is. Let's see if you can see that or not. Focus, phone, focus. Is that focused at all?
I see blue.
Well, it's actually a black car.
It looks blue.
I know. It's because there was a blue sky. Anyway,
wow.
I can't get it to
focus. It is glossy.
Gosh, I wish you guys could see it better. But anyway, the point of that story is, like, there's a depth there that I just don't think that you can achieve any other way than with a wax. And yeah, it takes a little bit longer, and but it's way more forgiving. Wax, you can screw up laying down wax, and so what? You just buff it off, right? I don't have to worry about high spots. I don't have to worry about all of the weird optical things that can happen with a coating. I just really, really love Glossom Wax. I love the way it smells. I love the way that it feels. I love the way that it looks. And I don't know if you guys are big fans of Dimitri's Garage, but he's like, out of all the waxes that I've used, Glossom is easily the best. And I couldn't agree more with him. It's a great wax. It's got synthetics. It's got natural carnauba. I call it the kitchen sink because it's got everything in there. And that's why we put on the back of the bottle so you don't miss nothing. Yes, it's a homage to Phil Miranda, because he always used to say that. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss nothing or miss anything. But that's why we put it on there. It's like, so you don't miss anything. We got you covered with Glossom Wax. And that's also, he named Glossom Wax because he always says that's Glossom. That's totally Glossom.
Well, I know Phil likes to use it with a black or a red polishing pad.
That's what I use it. I have a Buff and Shine Ultra Finishing Pad, and it's red, and it is gorgeous.
He does like one of those little handheld polishers, the ones that really don't have a bunch of zip to it, at a low speed, and just evenly apply it, let it haze up. What's great about it, like, I think a lot of people, we underestimate Teflon for its chemical resistance. Is that the gloss meter?
Yes, ma'am. It started out as 86. I can show you that picture too if you want.
That's impressive. On a wax?
Yes, ma'am. A wax with Titan.
I'll have to try that combo. I haven't tried it with both.
I wish you guys could see.
What do you like? Okay, so you're friends with Brian Spittler. Has he ever done a chemical torture test with the Glossom Wax and the Titan detailer topping to see how many washes he can get and what kind of torture test?
Not that I remember. Brian,
that would be an interesting video for him.
It really would be.
Maybe
Brian doesn't use a whole lot of waxes. He's definitely a ceramic guy. Obviously, his BC line revolves around mostly ceramics. I think BC3, his SiO2 is the only one that isn't really a derivative of like a polyxylazane. So, and the only times that I've ever seen him really work with using Glossom Wax is when he's working on a single stage vehicle. Glossom Wax is absolutely the perfect the perfect topper for a single stage. For all those reasons, because you don't have clear coat that you're bonding with. So that's the only time that I've ever seen him really use Glossom Wax is whenever he has a single stage, which is not very often. But he gets a lot of antiques and historic cars that do have it, and when he busts it out, it's a joy, it's pride when I see like what I like to see. What are you reaching for when the camera's off, man? And when it's one of my line, it's kind of like, oh, thanks.
Give me a second. We're gonna switch here.
Sure.
So Glossom Wax definitely is one. I think you said it best. As a professional detailer, sometimes we just want to rip through the vehicle, get it done.
Yeah.
Glossom Wax, it definitely does take a little bit more time. I wouldn't say substantially more. Because if you use the DA, you can get it on in probably under 10 minutes, let it haze up. And by the time you are done where you started has hazed up, and you can level it. But
yeah, when I did that car there, I just went around the whole vehicle without stopping And then when I was done doing the whole vehicle, that's when I went to the buffing process, and it came off super easy. Oh, that's awesome. Conway, yeah. See, he knows. He knows.
I need to revisit that, and I think honestly that would be an interesting test. Just to, I'm not a huge fan of torture tests because I don't feel like they're very realistic. But if you can find practical ways of doing it, and we've done a couple on my channel when we did the ceramic coating torture test, where you're hitting it with more day to day chemicals, your higher pH soaps, an iron remover, maybe a citrus degreaser. Definitely not. I mean, we did hit it with all intents and purposes oven cleaner. It was like a wheel cleaner, but uh yeah, I think honestly that would be an interesting gloss and wax with Titan, and then like compare it to maybe some other ceramic sealants. Maybe we should do a ceramic sealant or just a sealant competition, because I feel like while coatings are great, I feel like a lot of people are shifting back to more maintenance products,
Mhm.
because I feel like, I don't want to say the ceiling has been reached for ceramic coatings, because I feel like as the industry is evolving, correct me if I'm wrong, let me know if you guys agree with me in the comment section. But I feel like as they're getting more affordable, as they're getting easier to apply, everyone is intrigued and interested in them. But at the same time, I hear more and more from people, more sheeting. We're having water spotting issues. They're not lasting as long as we thought that they were claimed. And so I think the perception of some people is, meh, is it really all that hyped up? And so they're kind of going back to more old school,
Yeah.
ceramic sealants, waxes, sealants, things like that. So I
Well,
don't know.
I'll
What do you
tell
guys
you,
think?
I don't know if you watch any of the No Direction Detail podcast that we do for that Spittler and I do for Thor. But one of the things that we had talked about was real world expectations for um, a ceramic coating, and I think the general misconception of of the general population is, I'm putting this magic shell on my car and now I don't have to do anything. I don't have to wash it. I don't have to do anything. It's just this magical coating. It makes everything, it just rainwater will take care of all of my problems.
Hmm.
Um, and what I didn't know until I had that schooling from Spittler, he's like, ceramic coatings are extremely porous. Um, and so that's why maintenance is so important, especially the deconning that we started talking about that a little bit ago. The deconning of a ceramic coating, if it looks like it's failed, chances are it isn't failed. It's so completely clogged with stuff because people aren't properly maintenance. And he said you should never go more than 2 to 3 weeks without washing your car. With us, even with this, especially with the ceramic coating, because if you go longer than that, you're going to clog up those pores, and it's going to look like it's failed. It hasn't failed; it's still there, but the properties of it won't show because it is so clogged. And
That's
so,
interesting.
yeah, I
See, I
didn't
would
know
have
that.
said at least 1 to 2 months. 3 weeks.
No, he
That's
said no longer than 3 weeks max. And
Man, he would not like my customer that didn't wash it for 6 months straight.
yeah, there you go. Tim agrees. Um, but yeah, so I think that's probably the number one reason is that, well, why am I spending all of this money and I still have to do the
Well,
same
yeah,
level of work? I
make
still have to wash my car.
yeah, and we
Um,
say it makes maintenance easier. Yes, it does, but you
it
still have to
does.
maintain it.
Right. Especially it makes it easier, especially if you maintain it every 2 to 3 weeks. If you go, yeah, a month or 2 months, you're going to have to work for it. And that's again why I'm going back to finish this whole story that we started a couple of minutes ago. I'm working on a high pH and a low pH because I don't want Lab Cosmetica to be the only one that has a ceramic maintenance program. I'm going to
Yes,
be in that.
Aaron.
I'm going to be in that. So we've been working on the low pH. I've got samples of a high pH on my desk right now. Or wait, I got that backwards. I'm currently working in my warehouse on a high pH, and I have samples of low pH on my desk to experiment with to see if I like them or not. So that's where I'm going. Like after Fenrir, I want my high pH and my low pH. so that, like Brian says, you need to have bookends for your ceramic line. So I have the greatest paint correction stuff, Papa Cut and Fab, and then I have a great panel prep, and I have great ceramics. But now I need to be able to clean those ceramics, and then of course you can use Titan as a maintenance, or you can use Immortal as a maintenance spray. They both work well. So
Well, and whatever your acid wash is can it be used as a water spot remover if you dilute it?
uh,
He's like, I will have to test it.
TBA, to be announced. Yeah, like
Because
that's
that was one thing I like. Because I know you said Labo Cosmetic is one of the only ones that you know of. Detail Co does have their low pH and their high pH wash.
never heard of them. Sorry, Jamie.
But one thing I
the
did
loyalty
learn is
ends with the
that
House of Rags.
one thing I did learn is that their low pH wash, if you dilute it like 32-1 in a spray bottle, you can make your kind of own water spot
It's
remover.
interesting to me. I again, this not knowing the product, not knowing the science better. I know that acids work great. I mean, so basically, your deposits, your mineral deposits, your salt deposits. That's why low pHs work really great in removing those. But I would imagine, I thought that if you would add all that water, 31-1, you're making it more of a pH neutral. I mean, not exactly pH neutral, but it's still going to be on the higher side of a low pH. So I'm interested in knowing how that works. I don't know. Maybe I can get Jamie drunk at SEMA this year, and he'll tell me his secrets on
Pretty sure
how
Eddie might babble. You give him enough. No. No, I mean, I don't know. I mean, because I know I've been testing a couple. Yum Reset has their acid wash. We got obviously Carpro Descale. There's a couple out there. I wouldn't say that it's like a 3 pH wash system though. Are you going to market it as a 3 pH with your apex in the middle?
Actually, I'm going to take Apex. I'm going to boost it. I'm going to boost Apex, so it's going to be a little bit different. I want it to be beefy. You know, right now Apex is kind of like the chill. Everybody's cool. I don't have a scent. I don't have a color. pH neutral. I clean great. I got a lot of lubricity, but everything's cool. Now, if I can figure out a way to like crank it up, and I don't know if that means you have to triple the surfactant or just basically add different surfactants. Like Peleus works the way that Peleus works because you're not attacking a problem with the same direction. You're attacking the problem from 4 different directions. So it's going to go after different oils. It's going to go after, different residues that are left behind. And that's why Peleus works as great as it does, is that, it's just a 50-50 IPA. Wrong. You're so wrong. Like, we stumbled upon this surfactant that has been a game changer for me.
You
Good to
forgot
see you,
something
Conway.
on this,
Appreciate
though.
you. What's that?
You forgot something on this description, though.
What?
Glass cleaner.
Glass cleaner. Yeah, I know. I failed that way. I don't think that Hydra talks about being a glass cleaner either. Brian Spittler says that Hydra, like 1 ounce to, you see on my bottles, go to a pint bottle, find a pint bottle. How do you not have pint Hydra? How do you not, Jamie, how do you not have pints of Hydra? Absolutely ridiculous.
We have quart and gallon.
All right. Go to a pint. Any pint will work. It's just for the
Do
sake
they
of
have
this.
pints?
What?
No, I'm not done. My son's like, "Are you done?" I'm like, "No, we're not done."
Sorry. I own the title of sitting in the seat.
I don't think they have a pint.
Yeah, they do. They have pints. There's Furies. I'm looking at a pint of Furies right there.
Where?
Or
Furies.
Typhon, Peleus. They all have pints.
Okay. There
All
we
right.
go.
So you look at the bottom of the Furies bottle. You see that little tiny bubble.
Yep.
All right. So these are called modern rounds. That's the type of bottle style that I use, modern rounds. At the bottom of that bottle, you see that little bubble. If you fill that bubble with Hydra and then fill the rest of it up with water, it makes, from what Brian says, the greatest glass cleaner he's ever used in the history of glass cleaners.
I do use it a lot.
There you go. Talk about Immortal. Chingy Bingy, what do you want to know? Blingy. Chingy Blingy. I asked you to email me last night, by the way. It got completely blown off. Thanks.
Talk about
Elaine.
Immortal. I mean, we've got a lot we've got to get through. There's too many good ones. Okay. Hydra, we talked fantastic glass cleaner. I know that this is one of the higher rated rinseless washes for many people. I love using this again as a rinseless wash. It's not going to foam a ton, but you can wipe off polish residue with it, clean glass. It's fantastic. Typhon. Bro, I have fallen in love with Typhon.
Did you see what we just did?
The collab with
The collab with BioBombs?
BioBombs. Mm-hmm.
There is nothing on this planet that is better than Typhon BioBomb.
That
There's nothing.
smell is just so freaking clean. I use it on all of my customers' vehicles nowadays, and literally they will open it up and be like, "Oh my gosh, my interior smells so clean," and I'm like, the beauty of Typhon with a BioBomb Mini. Who are we texting? You're like a mad typer over there.
I'm talking to Chingy Blingy.
No, but for those of you that have not tried Typhon, not only does it can clean like upholstery, it can clean leather, it can clean plastics, and it helps neutralize odors. It smells fantastic by itself. It's not like an overwhelming smell. It smells fantastic, but when you add one of the BioBombs minis to it, it destroys odors and just leaves behind the cleanest smell on the interior. It's ever so slight, like that like inside of a pool, an indoor pool smell. Nothing like overwhelming though, but for me, it's just like it's the best scent. It's clean. It literally epitomizes clean.
Yeah. Yeah, that combination is I've never seen anything like it. The thoroughness and completeness of the clean. I'm sure that somebody's going to try to jump on the bandwagon and mimic, but no way.
That's
Typhon and BioBomb combo, just a giveaway. All right. We're supposed to give away a Typhon BioBomb kit. Titan.
Who said
it's
that?
called Typhon X BioBomb kit. The courtesy of Rick Smith.
All right. Well, then you pick the winner, Aaron.
We have to pick a question first, don't we?
We have to pick a question.
Yeah. All right.
Do I have to pick the question?
No, I'll do it. I'll do it real quick. It's a fast one. What year did I die? What year?
For those that are watching that came in late, they're probably like, "What did I miss?"
T-Bone Todd. Wait, yeah, T-Bone Todd. Boom. I don't even remember seeing T-Bone Todd in the chats earlier.
I didn't. He's just been stealth-like
lurking. I love it. T-Bone Todd. Send me your email address, Aaron@phoenixeod.com. It's very easy to remember. My name at mycompany.com.
Yeah.
And we'll hook you up there, T-Bone Todd. What a question. Hey, man.
Someone said, which one?
Yeah, that's true.
People just started randomly typing in years. I think they were like
1999,
2001.
Chances are it probably happened. I just was unconscious to remember.
First death.
Yeah, the first time I died. I'm like a cat.
That's what I said earlier. You are like a cat. Moving on. Paley's panel prep.
Yeah.
This is definitely one of my favorite squeaky clean panel preps. But I think I have found a better use for it. 1-to-1 with distilled water, glass cleaner. If you smoked in your vehicle, you have pets, kids, boogers, slobber, just grime on your glass. It cleans so well, but the surfactants within it, it doesn't evaporate like that. It gives you a little bit of work time that your towel's not going to bunch up on you and make a bigger hassle for you. If you haven't tried it as a glass cleaner, 1-to-1, some distilled water, I think you guys are going to like it. But awesome. It is a fantastic panel prep as well.
It's a shameless plug here, Chelsea. Again, that's one of the things that I pride myself in the company that I have, the products that I make. I want them to be as versatile as possible. I don't want somebody to have to buy 1 million products from my line to check off all the boxes. I want to be able to do multiple things with the same product. I mean, that's why Hydra was named Hydra. It's a clay lube. It's a waterless wash. It's a rinseless wash. It's a glass cleaner. Like you have all of these things. The Finrear. It's a tire dressing. It's also an interior dressing. It works great on trim. Like it's vinyl, rubber, trim. It's all that stuff. Like I want people to be able to use these products like Pelias and have multiple uses for it. So it's easier and concentrated. So it's easier on your wallet, and you can do more things with it. It's just I know it sounds stupid, but I really do put those kind of thoughts into the creation of these products.
Well, for the price, because most panel preps, they're actually pretty expensive. And even like most high quality, like nowadays, I'm seeing a lot of manufacturers coming out with glass cleaners that are very high IPA. Mild Deep had one, and I think it's like $16 for a bottle, like a bottle for a glass cleaner. $40 for a gallon of yours, and you cut it 1 to 1.
Yeah,
Fantastic savings.
yeah. It's
Not
twenty
to say
dollars.
you should buy
$20
Mild
a
Deep.
bottle.
Yeah, but I absolutely love it. All right, moving on.
Yes, ma'am.
Furies. This is probably one everyone just buy it by the gallon because literally when most iron removers, they're the most expensive chemical second to coatings that a detailer is going to have to purchase. Most quality iron removers are anywhere from $80 to $90 a gallon. So you're like almost half the price. It's gone up a little bit since you first released it
Yeah.
because I want to think it was like $45 when you
It was
first released it.
$49. We had to knock at 10. It just we were getting clobbered.
Yeah. But we've got one of the better smelling iron removers on the market.
Oh, can I just say? Can I
Yeah.
interject here? When I came up to your house to test this
That
stuff.
video we did.
Well, yeah, but not only that, but the best part of my day was when you called your kids and your husband to come out to the garage to smell. Come smell this stuff. You got to come out here and smell this. It's unlike that other stuff. And your husband was just like, I'm not falling for that trick. And she's like, no, come here. You got to come out and smell it. And he was like, oh my gosh, you're right. So good.
Yeah, it's got a little bit of a mint smell. And the updated version, doesn't it have like a little bit of like a grape smell on the back end
I
or
like to call it fruit punch, but
something?
nobody but me really can.
It's got I can
Nobody
smell.
but me agrees with me.
I feel like here as detailers, we sometimes nerd out about products. We talk about it like it's whiskey. I smell a little grape on the back end or something. It smells a little fruity on the back end,
Right.
but works really well. Fantastic.
Dragos' wife straight up nosed the Furies. That's
Yeah.
awesome. What a comment.
It has fantastic surfactants within it that you can use a clay towel to do a chemical decon and a clay towel at once.
Yeah.
And you're not going to stink up your garage.
Now, I will say this just as a side note. We had multiple conversations about this. When you use an iron remover as a clay loop, you need to be careful what clay you're using because a lot of like the inferior clays, knockoff clays, China clays, especially clay mitts and towels. Sometimes they're made with an inferior clay, and it can cause to break down, and then you're going to leave a black streak behind. And that's not just with Furies; that's with any iron remover that you use. So just be careful with what clay you're using, because if it's an inferior clay or if there's any kind of ferrous material in that clay, you will break down your clay, and then it'll cause black stripes. Which is why I always say Hydra is probably better of the two to use. But I mean,
I'm all about fast and efficiency.
Yeah.
And for me, I do it. Now, I will say this. I use the DIY Detail Their Clay Towel. I've never had issues with Furies and their
Great.
clay towel.
No, I've heard great things about that clay towel. And I know that Yavin boasts that he sells a bazillion of those. So they got to be working.
Yeah. All right. We are so close to the end, but not quite there. Kraken all-purpose cleaner. This is one. All right. You and I have gone back and forth with this because I think out of all of your products, I'm not a huge fan of all-purpose cleaners in general.
It's fair.
Because sometimes people just dilute it too strong. It can cause some issues on the interior. But I will say, I do enjoy this product for exteriors, engines, tires, wheels. Convince me, convince me, Aaron, on
Yes,
why
ma'am.
I should use this product for my interior.
Ever since Typhon came around, I'll never. Nope. Nope.
So do you use this mostly for exteriors?
I do now. Yeah.
Okay.
So the idea behind originally before, I mean, in the sequence, I think Kraken was number 7 and Typhon was number 10 in
Mhm.
in the product lineup. So Kraken came a little while before Typhon did. At least got to be 2 years or older than Typhon. That's why it was like a 10-to-1. You can do things interior. Like you have to really
Mhm.
water it down to so that you're not leaving like a white residue behind. So the big difference between the Kraken and Typhon is one is caustic driven and the other one is surfactant driven. Kraken being caustic driven, that's where you get that white residue if you don't dilute it properly or you don't clean it up properly. You can really run the risk of leaving that weird white residue behind. As the fact that it's caustic driven makes it an insane degreaser, a high pH, insane degreaser. So it is phenomenal on the exteriors. It's great on door jams. It's great on engine bays. Eileen, who's the desert queen, she uses it on all wheels and rims and wheel wells and all of that stuff. So, the right tool for the right job. I think since Typhon came on board, there's no need to even dance with the devil as an interior. Like there's no need to do it. Right. You can, again, it's versatile enough that you can, but make sure that you get your dilutions right so that you're not leaving a bunch of crap behind. And they also work as a great buddy system. So like I've had a couple of really nasty stains where the Typhon just kind of needed a little bit of a bump. I mean, that maybe not so much now that we've collabed with the bio bombs, but sometimes you just need a little bit more of a punch. So I would do like on the blood stains from my dog. I don't know if I told you my dog is pretty sick. And he's got a tumor in his mouth and therefore he
I'm
bleeds.
sorry.
It's all right. He bleeds on everything. But I have learned that Kraken Typhon, no problem. I mean, it eats that stuff like it's pancakes.
Well,
So
I mean, the names alone would make me feel
right. But that was one of your original questions that I never answered. Is basically after the 4 horsemen. So you got Papa Cut and Fab finishing polish and Apex auto wash and gloss and wax. After those 4 horsemen, and we had the ceramic spray and the ceramic coating. I was talking to Papa and I was like, dude, I don't know what I'm supposed to do next. Like, I mean, like, I don't know what am I supposed to do as far as naming products are concerned. And Papa was just like, well, I mean, Phoenix, why don't you stick with the mythology theme? That sounds kind of cool. And I was like, oh, all right. Phoenix is immortal. So now we have immortal. Kronos is the god of time, which is, ceramic coatings are supposed to, defy time. Sweet. Kronos, whatever. So that's where we started going down the line of mythology, which is where Fenrir comes from, because the collaboration with Thor, and they have most of their products named after Norse mythology. We took the wolf from Norse mythology and blended it in with Phoenix mythology. And the chains, because Thor and Phoenix are bonded together. That's what the chains are for. And the doghouse in the background that represents the House of Rags. It's a whole thing.
You really put a lot of thought into that.
Yeah, well, I was a nerd. Well, I am a nerd, and I spent years.
You like comic books, I can tell.
Comic books, and like I'm currently reading Isaac Asimov's Robot Dreams. Yeah. Yep. Kind of, yeah. So I fit right into the whole mythology. Anyway, sorry.
Speaking of 9 lives, we've got
Yes.
Immortal.
I love Immortal. It's the same stuff as Kronos. It's the same stuff as Kronos.
August 22nd. That's my birthday.
Yeah. Wow. Really? Is it? I'm gonna put that in my phone. I think I already have it in my phone as your birthday.
As of August 22nd, 2022, Immortal bottles are being upgraded. This is an old description. We need to update that because it seems like it's current.
You know, it's
We're a little
funny
bit
that I
behind.
still see videos of people or people using the old bottles. Give me 2 seconds. 2 seconds, Chelsea.
Is your battery about to die? I don't know about you guys. I did not plan on this podcast episode being as long as it has gone, but I'm enjoying every second of it. Aaron, where did you go?
Okay.
Are we showing us the new bottle?
For those of you that are non-believers, this is an original bottle of Immortal from when it was born, opened and used. Now it's got a couple of little flakes at the bottom, so obviously I would never use it because it's kind of flaky at the bottom, which tells you that the coating is pretty much shot. But the fact of the matter is, it still is alive. First generation.
I think I had one that had like the little white spray triggers like this, but it was a smaller clear bottle.
Yep. And
It
so
definitely crystallized on me.
we found that what was happening was Keith, you share your birthday with Keith Firebird.
Happy birthday.
So we found that the solvent in both Immortal and Kronos would leach the plastic and it would turn it foggy and sometimes gelatinous.
Yes, it
And
did
so
do that.
that's why we had to go to the aluminum bottle. And it's really funny. It's like I'll discover something like this, or a customer will call me and be like, "Hey, this is happening," and then I'll call the chemist and I'll be like, "Hey, what is going on?" And they're like, "Oh yeah, that'll do that." And I'm like,
That would have been nice to know before I spent
"How about you
thousands on
telling me that
bottles.
secret before I buy a billion bottles of a bunch of dumb stuff?" Like,
So what do you get as far as durability? What do your customers get with durability with
well,
Immortal?
so I think Socrates, detailing made simple. I think he puts it the best, where he does not give he doesn't give life expectancies. He gives mileage. He's like, I
Okay.
look at it like a dealership. You can go 3 years or 36,000 miles, whichever one comes first. And that's, I think, a great piece of education that we need to give to customers and, everybody alike. So on the bottle, and again, when we do stuff like, oh, this is a 5-year coating or a 7-year coating, or Immortal's a 1-year coating, we're talking about in an environment like Dimitri's garage, where it's a controlled environment. You're not driving it down the road. You're not getting it beat on. You're not exposing it for, 5 years to sunlight, brutal conditions, heavy rainfall, hail, whatever it is that you might encounter, a dust wind storm. All of those. It's right. When you're with Phoenix EOD, we go all night. So it's really like in my laboratory, or in the laboratory, I should say, not mine, the laboratory. You say Immortal is a 1-year coating, and it's based upon what we know of how long it's going to take for that ceramic coating to wear away. And again, that's also another reason why maintenance is so important, because if you get a failure somewhere, you'll get a failure everywhere. And water will travel to the path of least resistance. So, watch the ridge lines, watch the water lines, because that place will wear away faster than, say, like a flat hood or a sloped hood or a sloped roof. It's where's that water running down to that's going to erode faster. And you need to make sure that you're using a maintenance to make sure that everything evenly wears away. So that if this rut wears away faster than the rest of it, it's going to be like a domino. It's like when you're peeling a hard-boiled egg. It's like, all right, well, this is where it broke first, and now it's just going to keep going all the way across. So in theory, I tell you that it lasts a year. How you use it after that is up to you. How long you want it to last is up to you. If you want to put it on one time and then do a zero maintenance because it's a magical shell and I don't have to wash my car ever again, I don't think it's going to go the distance. I just don't. Hey, you remember that Jeep video that you did with the guy on the Kronos? Is a perfect example of what we're talking about, where you did the coating the previous summer,
Mhm.
and he went all season long, all winter long, and didn't bring it back to you until springtime the following year. Zero maintenance, going through tunnel washes.
And he
And he
didn't
was
wash it all winter.
Yeah, he didn't wash it all winter, and when he did wash it, it was tunnel washes, and he was like, the coatings failed. Maybe it might have failed. It might have just been clogged, but chances are you didn't do any maintenance to it, and you beat the balls off of it all winter long in Pennsylvania winters. It's
Do
not
you
magic,
know
man.
he
It's
had
not a
me ceramic coat another truck and the same thing happened? I think I
really.
told him this past time he got a new truck and we coated it. And I told him, if this doesn't work, I just think we need to stick with waxes and sealants. I just don't think coatings are for you. He's like, what am I doing wrong? And I'm like, you're not maintaining
You're not
it.
washing the car
You're
properly.
spending $1,000 on a coating and then you're not taking care of it.
Yeah,
It breaks my heart. It breaks
because
my
it's
heart when
magic.
people pay that money and then they just think it's a miracle solution to everything and that they don't have to do it.
Yeah,
That's the thing that frustrates me the most because I just want to push out education to people to let them know, like, either we need to change the education or lower the prices for coatings because they're just not getting their value. Is that the detailer's fault? Is that the industry's fault? Is that the customer's fault for not doing their research? Probably the customer's fault for not doing their research because I feel like it's being said enough. they're
yeah.
just they're just very gullible. They hear all the buzzwords and they just say, "Yes, that's what we need."
I think Ron, you're absolutely right. The time a coating lasts is only. Oops, I lost it.
Everyone
Ron.
wants to know. We're going to do a little sidebar here, give you guys an update. Yes, I got a compressor. Yes,
Ha.
it is life-changing. I do kick myself every time saying, "Why didn't I try this sooner?" My husband still says that he didn't say no, but he did. It's totally fine. But now I'm just glad that I got one. I have the California Air Tools Ultra Quiet 10-gallon air compressor. I've been using the General Twister blowout tool from the House of Rags, and it has been changing my life. My interiors are fantastic, and I've cut the time down like by 2 hours.
Oh,
So,
it's got to have cut your time down. Crazy.
dude, insane. I do find that I'm like still anal about blowing it out. I'm like, I can vacuum this. Like, I don't have, like, you don't have to blow it out as the vacuum. So,
Yeah.
the creme de la creme, we've saved the best for last, I think, honestly, is your new ceramic coating, V2. And I am actually really honored that I got to get bottle number 1 of V2 when it came out.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't use all the bottle. I had to leave a little bit in the bottle just 'cause it's like a collector's item for me now. But we got to do some pretty fun testing.
We
You
really
met
did.
with your chemist. You brought, what was it?
4.
3 or 4? It was 4 samples.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was sample number 3. It was U3
Yep.
that we tested, and this was the one that took the cake. Super
Yeah.
easy application, had really nice slickness, insane chemical resistance, really, really impressive hydrophobics. And I think honestly, you did a big improvement from V1 to V2 with application. It was so much easier. So
Thank you.
much easier.
And I honestly, I love the fact that we were able to collab with that. And you work with me. I remember, coming up, we brought the hood up. I think, was it Brian's hood? I can't remember. But you laid it
Yeah.
out in a grid, and really, we tested it. And I'm really, again, the whole part of this community. So much gratitude to the people that I've been able to surround myself with. Chelsea, you've been with me from the beginning, and Kronos V2 is 100% your love child. So thank you
If
for
we
that.
could get it to smell like sandalwood, that would just be just kidding. That would be weird. If we could have scented coatings, can you imagine? Jeez Louise. Oh my goodness. But for those of you that have not tried any of these products, I thoroughly encourage you guys. Not only are you getting products that are they made in America, Aaron?
Yes, ma'am.
Made in America. You're supporting
I
a small
promise.
business. You're
Veteran owned.
supporting not only one of the best guys within the industry, but you're getting really affordable products that work extremely well. I know this sounds like a shill. I don't really like to promote products that I don't love. I have a dedicated shelf for his brand at my shop, specifically for a reason, because they are that good. And it's not that I get kickbacks. I don't get products for free. I buy them. I pay
Yeah,
for them.
as a matter of fact, she makes me bill her. She's like, "You're my
Because when it's
friend.
for a friend,
I
you
want to
support a
support you."
friend.
Yeah, that's exactly
Yeah.
what she said. She said, "I support my friends. You will charge me." And I'm like, "Maybe I forget." And she's like, "Well, I'll remind you."
Well, for those of you that haven't tried out Phoenix EOD, I encourage you guys, if you are needing products, check them out. And if you want to save even some more dough, A to D10, save you 10% off. Aaron, this has been, I had a feeling it would go here all over the place.
Thank
It
God we
would make
did the
me
first
cry.
half
It would
first.
make us laugh. I hope you guys have enjoyed this episode. And I know we probably have a bunch of questions. We're going to have you come on a second time because
Chelsea, you know I love you. You know I love the camera. I'm here whenever you want me.
I had a
Seriously.
bunch of questions that we were going to discuss about the industry, and we're going to have to save that for another day because this is, congratulations, my longest episode ever.
Oh yeah.
Actually,
I
I,
can
I
keep.
can't end this
I can.
episode without saying this.
Okay.
The Pay It Forward campaign.
Ah.
Are you doing it again this year?
How can I not? We've already like Hawaii Tim McLaughlin,
Mhm.
Nick Fife. I know they've already sent me a whole bunch of stuff, a bunch of the Stay Strong detail spray. They've already donated, I think, 6 cases of the stuff. Next week we're going to Myrtle Beach just to kind of goof off in Myrtle Beach and hang out. But the main reason that we're going down there originally was because Socrates is moving to Myrtle Beach, but he's
Yeah, I saw
already
that.
moved, so there's no reason for that. But Cars with Keeve is coming up, and he's bringing a crap ton of power washers to donate to the Pay It Forward. Rick Smith is coming, and he's emptying out his garage of all the stuff that he no longer uses, and he's donating all that stuff. So yeah, the first year that we did Pay It Forward, we helped 4 people. The second year that we did it, we helped 8 people. Last year, we helped 15 really needed people. Like one guy, I know 2 guys lost their business completely. One was to theft, and the other one was to a truck fire. So to be able to, and Chelsea, you donated so much stuff. We were able to rebuild their mobile detailing business like that. Like it was
That's
just
awesome.
like it was gone, and now it's all back. You donated steamers. We had
An
polishers.
extractor.
We had extractors. We
Mhm.
had you had the shop vac that you donated. Like it was bananas how much stuff we had. Like I was honestly afraid that we weren't going to have enough nominations. It totally had homosexual. It's okay. It's all right. We'll talk later. Email me. Yeah, the Pay It Forward, as long as I can. Here's the best part about it, Chelsea. It's 100% community driven. It's 100. We're coming down next Thursday. I will be in Myrtle Beach. It is Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Barbecue is at Titan Tim's house on Saturday night. I think we're doing Calabash seafood, all you can eat, on Friday night. And Socrates' Thor podcast is going to be live from Myrtle Beach, and we're going to have the whole round table. BioBombs is supposed to be there. Brian Spittler says that he might be able to show up.
Dang. You weren't kidding. Everyone's coming.
Yeah, Cars with Keeve, Charleston Detail, Rick Smith, he'll be there.
Is this going to be on Sox Pod?
It's going to be on Sox Podcast next
Everyone,
Friday.
make sure you set your alarms and tune in. If you
It's
haven't
gonna be so much
subscribed to
fun.
Thor, do it now because
Yeah.
that sounds like a really fun
It's
episode.
going to be so much fun. Like all of the fun bus is going to be down there. You're invited, Chelsea. Everybody was disappointed when I just said I don't think she can make it. She's got family obligations, which is totally cool.
I always have family obligations.
Doing a rim job
Chris.
demo. I don't even know what that means.
I'm pretty sure he's polishing wheels.
I guess. All right. Anyway, so yeah, that's going to be June 19th through June 21st, and then I'm driving home on the 22nd with all of those power washers and detail supplies.
So if people want to send donations via mail, Where can they send them to?
You send it right to the warehouse. 404 Bloomfield Drive, Suite 1, West Berlin, New Jersey, 08091. We have a room dedicated for just pay it forward stuff. Like I said, we're already putting stuff in there. Like I said, Nick Fife and Tim McLaughlin have already been donating cases of Stay Strong. As long as I'm standing and as long as we have stuff to give away, we're going to help people. The end. And I said, January of last year, when we helped that man out, who lost all of his stuff, and his father said, you saved my son's life. And I said, I didn't save your son's life. We saved your son's life. I said, if we close our doors tomorrow, we've accomplished everything that I've ever wanted to in a company. I think that's it. That's all. We just helped that one person. So look at that. Dude, Humberto, he donated, I think he donated 2 polishers last year. The guy is a madman. He won something on the House of Rag, or one of like Eddie's. I think it was before the House of Rags. It was Eddie's Keeping It Real. Won a polisher, sent it to us. Then he sent another one. I mean, this is a beautiful community, and there's no other community that I would rather be a part of.
Well, I will also make a plea for those of you that maybe you can't donate materials. And oftentimes it's coming from excess, not like excess. A lot of us, especially as content creators, we get sent products or we buy products to test, or maybe you've got products that you just aren't using and you want to declutter. And I know that might seem like you're just, Aaron is a goodwill, but it literally is a goodwill for retailers that you're going to a good cause. But even if you don't have tools, chemicals, microfibers, anything that you can donate, the thing that they probably need the most help with is shipping costs. Because yes, people send them all these things, but that's a lot of weight that he then has to pay for shipping to get it to the people who win the prizes. So even if you can donate for shipping,
Matt Ayers,
I would say help.
from X's and O's Detailing, or Extra Mile Detailing. X's and O's is his podcast. Matt Ayers donated money to that. Papa Smurf donated money. Well, it was actually, I think it was Kimberly MC. She donated, and then Papa Smurf, because I wasn't monetized at the time. So he gave the money that the people in the chats donated. And then again, Cars with Keeve, he donated a brick of money. He paid for, like, I didn't have to pay anything out of pocket, because again, the community came together to make this happen. And we're just, the idea of the Pay It Forward campaign, one, it helps ease my conscience because of all the people that have helped me along the way. But then 2, we're hoping that it impacts the people that receive this stuff so that they pay it forward afterward. That whole, I help somebody and then they help 2 people, and then those 2 people help 2 people. And now the butterfly effect is huge. And that's what the Pay It Forward campaign is all about, is the community coming together to help people, and then just leaving the world a little bit better than the way we found it. And that's all we can ask for in our lives, is to just be kind, do good, pay it forward.
That's why I love you so much, Aaron. I think everyone sees your heart.
It's right here all the time.
Well, it was almost right here after that accident. Thank God it's not. When are we going to do a podcast with you, me, and Brian?
Well, we were really hoping last month, but soccer. And then we were really hoping this month, but
it's Father's Day.
Brian's on vacation until Saturday, and it's Father's Day weekend. And so we're hoping that maybe July, you have a clear spot.
Send me the date now, and I will make it happen. I don't do last minute because we've got so much stuff with our families.
I don't know if you know Brian and I, but we're always last minute.
Yeah, I know. And with my life, I cannot.
All right.
Literally, send me the date when we're done here.
Looks like it'll be the 11th.
July 11th?
Yes, ma'am. I'll have to confirm. But yeah, we always do. We always do filming on Friday. That gives Jamie and Eddie a week to do what they have to do. And then
what time?
5 o'clock
in the evening.
Yeah, 4 o'clock. See, we use the shop.
Do 4.
We'll do the best that we can. Brian, as you know, Brian sold off his detail business to his kids, and so we have to wait until they're done detailing before we can take over the studio, and that usually is like 4 o'clock. The boys try to kick out early on Fridays, so maybe we can talk them into like, hey, get out of here at 3.
David wants to know, when are we getting another roast on your podcast, and who is getting roasted? Hopefully never me again. That was not fun, but it was very much necessary.
I love a good roast. I love being roasted. I think if you can't laugh at yourself, then you don't have a right to laugh at other people. And I laugh at everyone. So
I definitely was laughing at myself. But I have you down July 11th, 4 o'clock. Let me know the time. I have you in the books.
Yes, ma'am.
Confirm it with the wife.
Yeah. Yeah. He always say, hey, look, I'm the Robin to your Batman. It's your show. I get it. You know, Jamie didn't even want me. He was just like, I don't care what you do as long as you bring Brian. Okay,
well,
thanks.
I'm actually curious in the comment section, for those of you that are still watching, with all of the people that we've had on this show, let me know your suggestions of people that you would like to have on next. I'm always welcome to suggestions. We've got some really fun ones planned, though. We are going to be having Christian from BioBombs on. Aaron, maybe we can have you pop in.
I would love to. He's awesome. We play off of each other very, very well. If I were to shoot from the hip right now, I would tell you I love Ghost on my show. Ghost was awesome. Conway became an instant fan favorite. I think Eileen would be fantastic on your show. She has a lot of really crazy insight, being a woman in the industry and being in the desert, like the harshest conditions of ever to be a detailer, which is just insane. I had Steve Thompson from the Detail Kid on my show a couple of weeks ago. He's a good sport, and he's young and upcoming, so it's great to see his perspective on the industry. I mean, I don't think I've ever had anyone on my show that's been not fun. But like, those are some definitely. I honestly, I really had a great time with Carson from Ghost. He's a great conversationalist, and I enjoyed the letting him just tell his story. So,
if people want to follow you, Aaron, where do they go?
I would tell you to go to Phoenix EOD on Instagram and Facebook, but I'm not in charge of that anymore. I've been banned from Instagram and Facebook.
She does make you do some fun dances.
She does make me do some crazy things. We just started TikTok. I was against every moral fiber that I had. She had me going to TikTok, and then something was posted, and she wanted me to go and look at it. And so I went to TikTok, and I ended up deleting the account. By accident. I was Maddie, I don't know what I just did.
I don't think it was by accident.
It really was. I was Maddie, I don't know what I just did, but the account is gone. And she goes, all right, new rule. Don't touch anything ever. I will send you exactly what I want you to look at from now on. Her name is Maddie. She's done
a couple videos on your Instagram.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, she's a partial hire. I would love to be able to bring her on full time. I would, she's worth her weight in gold. She's amazing. But she owns her own marketing consulting company, which is how we got introduced. Jackson Street Consulting out of Philadelphia. She's absolutely epic, and there is absolutely nothing she wouldn't do for Phoenix. Yeah, that was pretty rough. No, it was actually.
I'm glad that's not the episode I'm coming for, because that would not go over well.
No, as a matter of fact, we actually thought that you were going to come to the hot chip challenge, so I switched it. I was like, why don't we just do let's just rank fried chicken? That's easy. It's non-evasive. We can just do chicken. And Brian was like, okay. And then when you couldn't do it, and we got Christian, we were like, let's get Christian and beat on him. So.
I'd be down for donuts. Can we do like?
Yeah, we can do donuts. You want to rank? Do you want to rank different company donuts, or just like I have access to Krispy Kreme, and I could just bring their entire assortment of Krispy Kreme
Oh, I
donuts,
would probably want to die.
and
We'll
then
have
we
to
could
figure
just
out
choose.
what food that I'm not gonna like regret it the morning after. Being
It's up to
40,
you. Hey, we. It's up to you. You
maybe
can even.
the
What?
maybe the viewers have recommendations of food that
Do you
they
have
would
an
like to
email that
see
they
me
can?
eat.
Do you have an email that they can send you suggestions to?
No,
No.
they can find me on attention to details. My
Just go to
email
my.
is there, but I get way too many emails as is from people asking questions from about detailing. That's probably one of the things that I struggle with the most is that I'm starting to get viewers go onto my website and they will message me and I think it's a customer and it's just someone like, "Hey, I saw you use this wax in a video 2 years ago. What are your thoughts on it?" And I'm like, "Why are you messaging me in the chat of my like website for customers?" And that's the part that so if they have questions, if they can stick to the YouTube channel, that's great because then I can respond to it there. Because then I get my hopes up thinking that a customer put a bid in and it's not. But anyways, we're going to wrap this up. This was a fantastic show, by far the longest episode ever, but
Whoop whoop.
was worth every second of it, Aaron, to
Go
hear
big or
about your
go home.
story, hear about what God has been doing in your life. I'm so excited for you. I cannot wait for those new products to come out. If you need any product testing, you know where to find me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're on the flight route, so I'll definitely be bringing you the high pH and the low pH. Full
Give
show.
Aaron some love over on his social media channels. Make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't, so that way you don't miss out on Sock and all the great episodes coming up. But thank you guys so much for watching.
Hey,
Aaron, did you have something else to say?
yeah. Jamie just said he's down for a Thor Media Hot Ones. I am with you, Jamie. I will go the full distance this time, instead of just jumping in at the end. I
I
will
mean, if you
do.
want to see a grown woman cry, I'll do hot wings, but it will not. It will be entertaining. That's for
Oh,
sure.
I thought I muted my mic and I just screamed like my face was on fire. I was cursing and screaming, and I thought I had muted my mic, and then all of a sudden I hear Eddie and Jamie like, "We just got demonetized, and we had to mute him." Oh no!
Oh, anyways, thank you guys for hanging out with us. Honestly, this has been we've had like 50 people throughout this entire evening at least. It's been a joy to hang out with you guys tonight. I hope you enjoy the rest of your week. Make sure you tune in next Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time over at the House of Rags. But we'll see you guys next week. Have a great night. Bye, Aaron.
See you. Thanks, darling. Appreciate you letting me be on your show.
Okay.
Yeah, there's people. I
He's
have to
still
talk to
working.
them.
All right, guys. We'll see you next week.